From now, we will talk with Matt Derrick from Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mike podcast. He is heading to St. Joe, where the Chiefs will be reporting today. Not sure how much great video we'll have of the Chiefs players walking into eventually their dorms with the rain coming down if it continues throughout the afternoon. Andy Reid is scheduled to talk around 2 o'clock, maybe a little before, maybe a little after. We'll see when he gets to the podium at some point. If it's during the show today, we'll play it for you. If not, then you'll hear it during the program with Seren Petro. Maybe Patrick Mahomes. We'll find out if that is the case or not. But it is report day for the Kansas City Chiefs to training camp. I mean, if I told you today was going to be like 75 degrees, oh my God, what a gift. What a gift. July 24th, 75 degrees. Can't even enjoy it because it's going to be raining all day. But that means it's going to be nicer, right? The rain will cool down. No. The rain is bringing in the hot, muggy, sweaty, heavy heat over the next 3 days.
I wouldn't want it any other way for Chiefs training camp. I want it to be the hottest experience you've ever had.
It is just like clockwork, right? They report today, raining, 75. They get underway with practices tomorrow. Humidity, a wet blanket of heat just laying on top of you for the next 3 days. Oh, fun.
What an experience for the rookies that just have no idea what's coming.
Yep, you're living in a dorm again. Probably, not even probably. The rooms they are staying in for training camp are worse than the rooms that they probably just came from, for the most part. Certainly Mansour Delane and Peter Woods and and R. Mason Thomas and the bigger schools.
Jane Candy was staying in a dorm like that in Oregon?
Chance.
Yeah, no.
No chance. Even Cyrus Allen at Cincinnati. I say even. It's still, it's a Power 5 school. So, yes, it'll be a welcome to the NFL or a welcome to an Andy Reid training camp pretty quickly for them. But they report today. We'll talk with Matt Derrick from Chiefs Digest. 41 is the Mike podcast coming up at 11 o'clock. Mick Schaefer will join us in the noon hour. KSHB 41 sports director. Get his thoughts on a number of different things. We'll hang out with Mick Schaefer from about 12:30 to the end of the show. We got the cuts to wrap up the show as well today. A lot of stuff to get into and talk about. The Royals, you heard that in the intro, losing to the Tigers yesterday, which is perfectly fine. This is not an element of where, last year the Chiefs, the final 3 weeks, once Patrick Mahomes went down, wanted them to lose those games to get the highest pick they could possibly get. They did lose those games. They get a top 10 pick. They move up to number 6. They take Mansour Delane. We know all about that. We've talked about it, discussed it. But in baseball, it's different. With the lottery, the top 3 teams have the same percentage of getting the number 1 pick, of winning the lottery. So you don't have to have the worst record. You just don't need to have the 4th worst record. 1, 2, or 3 is perfectly fine. So this isn't about getting the worst record so you get the number 1 pick. There's a couple of things with watching this series against the Tigers. Because individual plays or, the going to the bullpen or Salvi double play to end the game, whatever. These things 2-3 months ago, we would have been discussing and talking about, and Schreiber giving up the long ball and Salvi coming up and hitting into the double play. It would have been frustrating, but we would have been talking about, well, maybe Isaac Collins is turning it around and these different things that, don't matter right now for this particular year. I think if Isaac Collins continues to play well, maybe he shows that the beginning of the season was changing leagues, changing teams, getting comfortable, acclimated, used to a new spot.
Maybe give the slow excuse start for Vinny every year.
Yeah, maybe a little pressure on they traded for me to be the everyday left fielder now for the next 3 or 4 years. I've got to go and prove it that I'm that guy. There's obviously the between the ears part of baseball. So those are things we'd be talking about, but we're not discussing those things right now. But the loss to the Tigers, to me, and these next 3 games, the Tigers right now are 4 games out of the wild card. Tariq Skubal pitches tonight against the Royals. In a different time, we'd be talking about a tough game and can you steal one from the Tigers. But, I mean, I'll still be, rooting for the Royals to win, I guess. But these next 3 games, I'm perfectly fine if the Tigers win them. Because, to me, if we look long-term, right, we focus long-term on the Royals, and we see what different players or trades or prospects can mean for the 27, 28, 29 season. And I'm looking at it from the Detroit Tigers perspective. Let's play this clip from Jeff Passan. You hear him on the program every week. This is from ESPN yesterday. And before the Tigers and Royals game, and with Skubal then going tonight in Game 2 of the series, we know the Tigers came back and won the game last night. But here's Jeff Passan talking about the Tigers, Tariq Skubal, and what the next week and a half will be until August 3rd, the trade deadline, what it will be like there with the Detroit Tigers in the front office.
They're monitoring box scores as much as anything because they know that Tariq Skubal's availability boils down to one thing, and that's, are the Detroit Tigers still in the playoff race? And as of now, they are. As of now, they're going to ride with Skubal and Troy Melton and Casey Mize, another guy who's impending free agent, and try and get back into the playoff hunt. They've made some progress, but Boston winning 15 consecutive games and getting that final wild card spot, that's the sort of thing Detroit, frankly, needed to do to ensure Tariq Skubal was going to stick around. This is going to come down to the end of the month. By July 31st, I think the Tigers are going to look at the standings, going to look at how they're playing, going to look at everything about where they are and make a determination at that point. And that's either when the frenzy could happen or when this deadline could change, at least in terms of activity, for the worse.
They are scoreboard watching because they have played better baseball and they are now back in contention. And that's a good thing for the Royals. Because you know what I don't want the Tigers to do? When the season started, and people smarter than I in baseball picked the Royals to win the Central. I also did that. Nailed it. Killed it.
They say last is first sometimes.
That's what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like they finished first of the worst teams in the American League Central.
Nobody's better at being bad than the Kansas City Royals.
In the division.
It's true.
They are really, really good at being bad in the division. So I nailed that one. All right, I said they're going to finish first. They're going to win the Central. And what I meant by that was they're going to win the prize of the worst team in the Central. But anyway, there are many smarter people than I that picked the Royals to win the Central. But at the beginning of the season, I would have loved for the Tigers to trade Tariq Skubal. Would have loved for them to have to move on from him because it would have eliminated Detroit, essentially, even though, we've seen a couple of years ago, they traded some players away and then they end up going on the run and they make the playoffs. But losing Tariq Skubal would be a big blow to the Detroit Tigers. But that is now flipped. With the Royals being as awful as they are, I want the Tigers to keep winning because I want Tariq Skubal to stay on the Tigers. The best thing for the Tigers to do, and if I was in Detroit right now, it'd be hard to do. But if you look at realistically of what your team is, what the rest of the American League looks like, and it's terrible, and everybody's in this thing like Detroit. Yes, the American League sucks. You still have to pass 6 teams to be able to make the playoffs. You're 4 games out. And that's why I want the Tigers to keep winning over the next week, because I want them to be within a couple of games of the playoffs to where they look at it in their front office and they say, we've got a chance to make the playoffs. We are not trading Tariq Skubal. Because they're also not going to sign Tariq Skubal at the end of the season.
Then couldn't there be a very strong, compelling argument that they should trade him regardless of if they make the playoffs or not?
Absolutely.
I don't even know why this is a conversation.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If I'm in Detroit right now, it would be tough, but I'm going to be looking to trade Tariq Skubal. Garrett Crochet is different because there were a couple of more years of team control when the White Sox traded Garrett Crochet. So he moved on to the Red Sox, and they got a king's ransom for Crochet because there were 2 more years of team control. And they were able to redo what their team looks like. They got Chase Meidroth, they got Kyle Teal, they got Braden Montgomery for Garrett Crochet. And then Gonzalez, who not sure about, what all he's done. He's 16 games, I think, this year as a reliever. He's been fine. He's got some control issues, but if he gets those figured out, he's got, strikeout stuff. So they got 4 guys that have all played for the White Sox this year for Garrett Crochet. And that has made a huge difference in where the White Sox are. They made some other moves, but that was a big one. That was a little bit like the Greinke to get Kane and Escobar, and then to get Odorizzi, which then you can flip to be a part of the Wade Davis and James Shields trade. They reworked what that looks like. And for me, the best thing for the Royals is for the Tigers to hold on to Tariq Skubal. I don't care if the Tigers make the playoffs this year. Skubal is going to be a free agent and go somewhere else. It's better for Detroit to move on from Skubal and pick up a top prospect or 2 for the most coveted player on the market, and the Dodgers that have a really good farm system, and they're going to want to try to win 3 consecutive World Series. So whatever it takes, all in. If it means moving guys that could have helped us in 28 or 29 or 27, doesn't matter. Moving those guys to get Skubal. Plus, with Tariq Skubal here, we can, set him up with a real estate agent to get his house once he signs with us anyway at the end of the season. We're going to sign him anyway. So keep winning, Detroit. Keep beating the Royals. Look at it from an unrealistic perspective and think just making the playoffs is good enough. Because it'll be a huge missed opportunity for Detroit that you don't trade Skubal, you go into the offseason, and he goes somewhere else and signs as a free agent. That's what I'm rooting for. That's what I want to happen. Let's go, Skubal. Deal tonight. Keep going, Tigers, over the next week or so. Keep Skubal, and then I don't care what you do after that.
The Tigers are doing the equivalent with Tarik Skubal what the Angels did with Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah.
And Ohtani was a little bit different because the Angels, I don't even think, were close to making the playoffs, but they just wouldn't sell him. And how stupid do the Angels look now?
What they could have got.
What they could have got for Shohei Ohtani.
They might be in a position to where they're not trading Zach Nato, where they're not trading some of their players to get better down the road, where they are buying maybe if you got a prospect or 2 or 3 for Shohei. And then you combine that with some of the players that they have, and it's like, wow, the Angels are right there, man. They're a really good team, and they can win the West because of A, B, and C that they got when they traded Shohei Ohtani.
And this would be a completely different situation if Detroit was one of the best teams in the AL. They were tops in the division. They had a legitimate chance to compete in October. 4 games, or 4 teams, or is it 4 games back of the wild card?
They're 4 games back of the wild card,
and 4
but
teams to jump.
There are 4 teams in front of them that aren't in the wild card race. And then you've got Boston, that is as hot as any team in baseball. They 15 straight before losing. So, they're 15-1 in their last 16 games. So that's also a team they would have to surpass. Or Cleveland or the Yankees. They're 8.5 behind the Yankees for the number 1 wild card spot. They're 4.5 behind Cleveland. They're 4 games behind the Boston Red Sox. That's where they are right now, but they have to pass Houston, Baltimore, Minnesota, Seattle, and then one of the wild card teams to make it.
That's just a very risky bet. That's a stupid bet. Like, there are calculated risks, and I don't think that that's a good one whatsoever because a lot of stuff would have to go right. And just looking at how the Tiger season has played until this point, do you want to bet on that luck? I wouldn't do it.
No.
I think trading Skubal, which would be the best move, would actually be bad for the Royals because then their farm system would get better.
Exactly, because then they can have 1 or 2. Like, if the White Sox didn't trade Garrett Crochet, you'd be like, 25 and 26, the White Sox can be a little bit better with Garrett Crochet. Who cares? if they were 2 or 3 games better. The White Sox would not be nearly as good of a team if they didn't have Chase Meidroth and Kyle Teal and Braden Montgomery. And I know Teal missed most of the season, comes back, and then sprains his ankle or whatever it was that he's going to be out, 10 to 12 weeks, something like that. Like for a while, maybe the rest of the regular season on an ankle sprain where he wasn't touched. Where I watched the replay and I'm like, oh, this is going to be a collision. Oh, I'm waiting for this ankle to get turned the wrong way. Oh, no. I'm like, that was it. But still, you've got that guy, and Braden Montgomery comes up and, makes an impact with his, home run that he had in his major league debut. They're not nearly as good of a team without those players. And they don't feel like maybe they go out and get Murakami if they didn't feel like they are close to competing. Let's go get a power bat with a couple of guys we've got ready to come up with Kyle Teal, with Chase Meidroth, with some other players, with some pitchers. And some of that was then boosted by trading Crochet. And the Tigers, to me, it would be an absolutely foolish thing for them to be so focused on 2026 that you don't look at it's like the definition of the forest for the trees. You can't see the forest for the trees. You're so focused on the tree or two in the front. It's Tariq Skubal in this year that you can't see the forest of what your organization can be if you get 1 or 2 top 100 players. Maybe you miss on them. Maybe you hit on them. But what you aren't going to have is those guys in your system or on your big league team in 27 and 28, and you won't have Skubal either. You already paid Valdez. You're probably going to try to keep Casey Mize because you're not going to be able to outbid for Tariq Skubal. And is Skubal going to want to stay with Detroit, or is he going to take more money to go to L.A.? More money to go to the Yankees. More money to go somewhere else. Maybe he loves Detroit. I don't know. Could be. But I'm wanting the Tigers to keep winning. It's not a position I'm typically in because I'm not a Tigers fan, but I want them to keep winning. As Jeff Passan said, what's going on right now in the front office is they are scoreboard watching.
But I would ask this, too. If they wait up until the deadline, let's just say that
August
they wait
2nd,
till
August 3rd.
They wait till August 1st to move Skubal. Will they get the return that they would have got if they did it in mid-July?
Yeah, I think they'll still get a king's ransom for him. He's the number one coveted player. He's the one that teams will look at and say, that's a guy you can start game 1 of the World Series. That's a guy that if it's a 7-game series, he might pitch twice. And if he pitches twice for you in game 1 and game 6 or 7, whatever, then you've got a couple of games that you feel like you can win. And that gives you a pretty decent head start. Depending on who you have with your number 2 or 3 starter, yeah, that would be worth it. If you were saying we're trying to win this year, then I think you'd be willing to give up and outbid other teams. The Yankees, the Red Sox are catching them. The Rays have gone past them. They've got some issues. Are they willing to overpay for Skubal? Are the Rays willing to do something crazy and say, you know what? Let's trade for Skubal because we want to actually win the World Series. Again, the Dodgers, what does it mean to win 3 straight? So go and do whatever it takes for Skubal because you're going to sign him next year anyway.
Also, what does it matter if you're a prospect in the Dodgers organization? Let's go buy somebody else.
Yeah, right. Exactly. And so I think there will be a huge bidding war for him. And I hope the Tigers are foolish and they turn it all down and they stay and try to win this year. That would be nice. That'd be great because they're not good enough to make a run. I don't think. Maybe they do. Maybe
Skubal pitches twice in every series.
But here's the thing. With Skubal, wild card game 1, he's pitching. You feel pretty good about winning the first game of the wild card with Skubal. So I understand from that perspective. You make the divisional round, Skubal, pitching game 1 or game 2, depending on if you have to go 2 or 3 games in the wild card. Maybe pitching game 2 of divisional series. You get past that one, maybe 2 and 5. Maybe comes in, then you're probably not starting game 1 of a 7-game series, but you cross that road when you get there.
Got to win to get there.
Yeah. The Tigers are looking at it the way that other teams will be looking at it in giving up premier prospects. I would just say if the Royals were in the exact same spot as the Tigers, I'd want them to trade that guy. And I know people would be like, that's dumb. You got to try to win every year. I get it. I understand that perspective.
You got to know what you are. You
Right.
got to know what you are.
And that's why the Royals, Scott Sharp was on with New Day on Wednesday saying we pretty much know what, not really much of a decision. He was essentially saying, yes, we're sellers. All right, we're not going to sit here and go, are we buyers? Are we sellers? Let's see if we can win a few more games. Won 5-1 since the All-Star break till last night, 5-2. You never know. Like, he didn't say that. He said it's pretty obvious what we are. There's not a decision to make. So you're going to be sellers. Now the decision is, who are you going to sell? Are you willing to move Michael Wacha? You willing to move Seth Lugo? Kolek looked like it's going to be some Tommy John. That's what it feels like. Bergert, is out most of, if not all of next year because of Tommy John. It takes that long to recover. If Kolek has Tommy John surgery, he would be out all next year. Cole Reagan's midseason is when you expect him back. Who knows what the latest on Bubic will be? He's a free agent. Maybe you sign him to a one-year deal. If you trade Wacha or Lugo, who's going to be starting there? Avila looks good, but then you're talking about the depth of your rotation if you feel like you want to compete in 2027. The issue is you also then need to be realistic, the Royals front office, in 27, the way that I think the Tigers need to be realistic about where they are right now. It's good for the Royals if the Tigers keep winning and they don't trade Tariq Skubal. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Chiefs training camp report date. We didn't get into yesterday. I was going to talk about Connor Orr, the SI piece, and people have talked about it. Of the 14 teams that can win the Super Bowl, it does not have the Chiefs listed as one of the 14 teams that can win the Super Bowl. That's fine, whatever. But it reminded me of where we were in 2022, post Tyreek Hill trade, coming off the loss to the Bengals in the AFC Championship game, and then you trade Tyreek Hill. And I want to go back in the time machine and listen a little bit to what the commentary was in 2022 and where we are now in 2026 with the commentary coming off the worst season with Patrick Mahomes in a Chiefs uniform and him coming back from the ACL and MCL tear. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone next. All right, man, if you're out there and you've got some symptoms that could be related to low testosterone, well, you know what? Heartland Men's Health can help you right around the corner. 3 different locations, convenient for you, wherever you are in the area, to go and check out Heartland Men's Health. Guys in their early to mid-30s start losing 2 to 3% of their testosterone production every year. It happens gradually. Before you know it, you don't feel the same way that you did when you were younger, in your 20s and early 30s. And along with that, Heartland Men's Health is helping men go further with 4 targeted body composition plans featuring GH peptides, NAD+, GLP-1, PDA, and more, all designed to boost energy, support metabolism, enhance recovery, and accelerate fat loss. Along with low T treatments, you see real improvements in men. Simply schedule a consult with Heartland Men's Health to do your lab work with you, have your results within 30 minutes, and then a licensed medical provider will review the results with you, discuss the options, help you make the decision together with the medical team. Cost of the appointment, it's $99, and that includes medical consult, T, and that PSA test that we talk about a lot. And if you sign up for testosterone treatment the day of your appointment, your visit, it's free. You could be back to having some of those energy levels. No more brain fog. That was a big one for me, didn't even know what brain fog was, but it was definitely something that I was suffering from. Better gains in the gym. Let me tell you, training for a triathlon helps if you've got some testosterone replacement therapy, if you're a little bit later on in life and you don't have that natural production that was there in your 20s and early 30s. Heartland Men's Health, successfully treating men in the Kansas City area. 3 locations to serve you: Overland Park, Independence between Blue Springs and Lee Summit, and North Kansas City. Call them today at 844-447-6600. Tell them you heard about it right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, 844-447-6600, or visit heartlandmenshealth.com. All right, so we got some breaking news in the world of sports and in the NBA. The decision is in. LeBron James has decided to play for Team Chelsea. Nope. He is going to the Cleveland. Nope. LeBron James, as of 5 minutes ago, the reports come out, he is now a 76er, and we head to our Philadelphia 76ers correspondent for his initial reaction to LeBron James being a 76er with maybe he and Maxey and Jaylen Brown and Joel Embiid and VJ Edgecombe as an amazing starting five. Sterling Holmes on the line with us. Sterling, as a 76er correspondent, what's your initial reaction to LeBron being a Philadelphia 76er?
10, 9, 8, 76ers. Come on now, baby. Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4. Can they get 5 playoff wins? Just one series.
5 playoff wins.
I love that LeBron comes when he's 42 years old and he dyed his beard like Brian Wilson. I don't care. I don't care that he's dyeing his beard now like he's Brian Wilson of the Giants. This is huge, okay? This is going to be fun because what the Sixers need is a guy who can close. I understand that he's old. I understand all these things, but he is a facilitator. He should be able to work without the ball just like he can with Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. The Embiid situation will be the intriguing thing to watch, but let's be real now, Jason. I am stoked.
I figured you would be, man. And you have always been in agreement with me, LeBron over Jordan. And so now you get to enjoy, right? Isn't that, I don't know. That doesn't really matter right now.
Jason, I'll say this. If he wins a championship for the 76ers, I will finally agree with
There we go. Now you've got me being a 76ers fan. Let's all jump on board here. The Embiid thing is going to be really interesting if he can stay healthy, because if that is the potential starting five of James, Maxey, Brown, Embiid, Edgecombe, I mean, I know that we talked about like it's not a big three anymore. You've got to have depth overall. I mean, that's a pretty decent big five, not just a big three.
Yeah, I'm intrigued if they even try to trade Embiid still. I don't know what they're going to do, because, I mean, it will be a little of an intriguing matchup because you need to surround these guys with a whole bunch of shooters. VJ Edgecombe, I wouldn't say, is necessarily a quote-unquote shooter. Mm-hmm. You do need to get a couple of spot-up guys because Tyrese Maxey, I would imagine, is going to be the guy with the ball in his hands the most. I think LeBron will have to play a little off-ball. Mm-hmm. We'll find out. Embiid is obviously a guy who needs the ball in his hands, but at some point you can say, get your big ass down low. You need to get Shaq to tell him that. You know, Embiid's not lighting the cakes, if you will. Get him down low, get him posting up. That is when he's playing the best. When he drifts out to the three-point line, that's when the Sixers offense, in my opinion, really starts to stall.
Yeah, I wasn't giving the 76ers much thought, to be honest with you, and that's because there is only one basketball on the court. And as you said, LeBron can play off ball, but he's a facilitator, though. He wants the ball in his hands, and Maxey, ball in his hands. Jaylen Brown, not so much, but he can have the ball in his hands, and he can play off ball if need be. But I didn't give the 76ers much thought because I didn't know if he would go somewhere and sort of blend in, if you want to call it that. And LeBron's never going to just blend in, but to a degree. But here we are, and this is... Man, it's I hate to use the word fascinating, right, because it's used all the time, but I find this to be fascinating as to how it's going to work on the court with all of those guys and one basketball, because it can be amazing if they're working together and everybody's sharing the ball and, it's the teamwork that we've seen in the NBA lately, or it could turn out to be a disaster and the guys don't like each other, and we've seen in Philadelphia try to put a dream team together before, and that was in football, and it all fell apart pretty quickly because, they were all sort of mercenaries to a degree. And this is a one-year deal for $8 million for LeBron. So it's not a LeBron's going to Philadelphia to be there for the next 3 or 4 years. It's LeBron's going to Philly for 1 year, and we'll see what happens after that.
Well, it's a city of brotherly love. We'll see if they can have the brotherly love sharing the ball on the court. Defensively, they should be fine. obviously VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, Embiid. LeBron at his age, we've seen at times, I think even you can admit now, not the same defender he was early in his career, obviously. But again, we will see how this plays out. It is the complete opposite of what, let's say, the Thunder have done, the Spurs have done, I think the Nuggets have done, the Celtics have done. Again, you're right, in an era of the NBA now where you have one or two guys, but mostly one guy you build around with a lot of pieces that know their role. The Sixers are going back to what was the early 2010s, where it was the big three, or it was just have as much talent as you possibly can and figure out the rest. We'll see what the bench looks like. If there are injuries, again, to, let's say, Embiid or to Jaylen Brown, or if LeBron's going to play, 50 to 60 games, what does the bench look like? Can they withstand extended absences or even the rest days that we know these guys are going to get?
Here's LeBron James' Twitter statement. I thought I was done when the season ended. I wasn't ready to announce it, and I knew I needed some time to really decide, but I was pretty sure I played my last game. I was honest at that last press conference when I said I needed to look at myself and decide if I still love this game. I still truly love this game, and I have more to give. The last few weeks have been really special. I've never been able to have no clue what to do and take real time to just think. I've had an incredible few months with all the people I love trying to figure it all out. This is my last decision. I'm not going for money. I'm not going for family. What I am really playing for at this point, I still want to sacrifice. I still want to work. I still want to grind. I still want to compete to win and have a chance at the feeling of winning another championship. I believe I can help make the Philadelphia 76ers a championship team, and I'm so excited to energize a new fan base and start this incredible journey one last time. Thank you, LA. Miami, I'll forever love, and Northeast Ohio will always be home.
So, Jason, real quick, in regards to this, what does the legacy look like? Because if he wins a championship with the 76ers, now that is a obviously massive if. That's a championship with, 4 different teams, with Miami, with Cleveland, with L.A., and then with Philly. Obviously, it wouldn't be the same amount as what Jordan had. Obviously, you would have the losses in the final, which apparently is somehow worse than losing in the first round. I never will understand that argument.
Yeah.
But he would have won a championship with 4 different teams. But the knock would be he would be like with Miami, a big three, or it wouldn't just be him as the leading guy on said team, even though we know, even with the big three, he was the leading guy. What does that legacy look like? Again, 4 different teams, but again, joining a super team, if you will. We know that'll be used almost as a knock against him.
Yeah, for sure. It's someone that went to, in Cleveland where he was when he was drafted, people rooted for him because you were trying to get Cleveland to a championship when they, weren't that team, and it was just LeBron and a bunch of, guys around him. Then he went to Miami and everybody hated him because it was building a super team, but Miami hadn't been a super team that he was joining. It was Wade and then Bosh and then LeBron. Then he goes back to Cleveland and, they trade Andrew Wiggins and they've got Kyrie and they get Kevin Love, and he turns Cleveland around and they win a championship. And, what has Kyrie and Kevin Love done in the postseason without LeBron James there on that team? Then he goes to L.A. and brings a championship back to L.A. And people have already dismissed that one because it was the COVID one and in the bubble, and that doesn't matter. It's not a real championship, whatever. And going to this one, this would be, despite what the narrative is around him, this would be the first time he's joining a team that sort of has the pieces in place and is played together outside of Jaylen Brown, but the other guys playing together and joining to be a part of that, not necessarily be Superman for that team. He is going to be more Robin, or a bunch of Robins that can create a Superman for the Philadelphia 76ers. It's the first time, if they win a championship, it would be like that. It'll be dismissed, whether it's 4 teams and 4 championships with 4 different teams. That's how it'll be looked at, but it won't be the same. And I'll admit that me being a LeBron guy, I'll admit that it's not the same of winning his what would be 5th championship if he does that with this team, when it's like you get closer to Jordan, Jordan has 6. Even if LeBron gets 2 more and gets to 6, it won't be the same because Jordan was the guy and won the MVPs for those. So that is not really much of a debate. But I do think there's some legacy to this guy won 4 championships with 4 different teams in 4 different cities to be able to do that. We haven't seen somebody as the man. And this would be the one time and he's not going and being like, okay, well, he's now a front runner because he's going and joining this, or he's, you can't beat him, join him. That was Durant. Durant lost directly to the Warriors, then joined the Warriors. This wasn't the 76ers knocking off L.A. over and over and LeBron going, well, bleep this, I'm leaving L.A. and I'm going to the 76ers. His legacy is written for those that are Jordan fans, no matter what he does in Philadelphia. He'll be number 1 or number 2 regardless. I think it'll be another notch on the belt if he wins there in Philadelphia, but it won't be viewed the same as even if he gets 5. It'll be, well, it's 3, the bubble's sort of discredited, and then the one in Philadelphia would be discredited, and Jordan had 6. And outside of the bubble one, I don't necessarily disagree if he were to win one in Philadelphia with this team, and he's sort of part of the group and not the Superman of the group.
Well, it would have been if Washington would have won one when Anton Jameson would have been more or less maybe the guy, right, in Washington. Or,
yeah, right.
But
that's a good point.
Were so bad. Like Brendan Hayward was
terrible.
Your starting center. It wasn't like those Jordan Wizards teams were any good.
Yeah.
Maybe it'd be a little bit like Brady in Tampa, if you will. I mean, Brady was obviously still a guy, a main cog, clearly. But it wasn't like Brady was the reason, in my opinion, that Tampa Bay won that. It was a multitude of factors. Obviously, they got hot in the playoffs, but that entire team was
that
really,
defensive
really good.
line was Studley. He had guys to throw to, but it was Tom Brady being the GOAT, and the big difference there was replacing that quarterback and bringing him in. It won't be the same with LeBron because Tom Brady being the quarterback of the NFL team and winning, already being the GOAT, and then adding to the legacy, and then also, by the way, knocking off the baby GOAT, the guy that was going to be the next GOAT in the Super Bowl, certainly helps establish that, GOAT status for Tom Brady. That won't be, unless he is if they win a championship and he's the finals MVP, and it's like LeBron is averaging a triple-double, he's got 13 assists per game, he's got 12 rebounds, he's scoring 13 or 14 points, but he's the best player on the floor. You don't have to score to be the best player on the floor. Then it'd be different. But I just don't see that being the case with him at the way he's still playing is remarkable that he's in his 40s and doing those things, but it's not the LeBron we used to watch.
No, but also how many books will be fake read between LeBron and Jaylen Brown to see who's
great
smarter?
Point. That's a good point.
Be
both guys, how both guys think they're the smartest guy in the room when they walk in. Who's actually going to be the smartest guy in the room between Jaylen Brown and LeBron? See, that's interesting because Sterling, there's only one ball on the court, but there could be multiple books in a room. Okay, so who's going to be? That could be the battle. That could be what breaks up the entire team. Jaylen Brown and LeBron, they get along great on the court, but off the court, they can't stand each other because the other guy thinks he's smarter than you. And the flip side, and they don't get along, and that ultimately it just pulls on a thread throughout the season, and then the whole thing comes unraveled by playoff time. There it is.
That's it.
Figured it out.
We've solved it. We've solved the issue now.
And Joel Embiid is just sitting back in the training room going, guys, I'd love to be out there playing. All right, I can't right now. I read a lot of books. Will you guys just go play basketball for me? Because I can't get out there because I'm injured again.
And then the real issue is that Tyrese Maxey is the actual engine that makes this offense go.
Exactly. Yes. Tyrese Maxey is Scottie Pippen, like the actual. I'm joking. Just a joke, everybody. Sterling, get back to your. Are you still reunioning? Are you guys still reunion family stuff?
So tomorrow is the big day of reunion where we do the obstacle course. We play 3-on-3 basketball, pickleball, volleyball. A lot of injuries will probably take place, but that's part of it. If you're not getting
just don't do laundry, you'll be fine.
Yeah. Is part of the obstacle course laundry?
No, but they might do it for me. No, we'll have logs, and you have to do like a log run. You push kids in a wheelbarrow. The key is the kids are not allowed to cry. If they cry, you lose.
I get it.
There's like a slip and slide, a tire run, like a football training camp. This would be great to add to St. Joe, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Always good. But no, today in a little bit we have the Guthrie Golf Classic, 2-time back-to-back champion. So that'll be a nice little trying to keep the throne, go for the three-peat, if you will.
Right. You and the Dodgers.
they get us confused all the time.
Yeah.
Me and the Dodgers, we get confused all the time for each other.
This is a reference that not many people will get, but I'm thinking of this obstacle course with you and looking back to Mr. Mom and Michael Keaton and that obstacle course at the end with chariots of fire, and they're riding the little tricycle at the end, and then he throws the race to his wife's boss, and it ends up falling down, act like he ended up losing, so his wife's boss will be happy because it was a company obstacle course and retreat and thing like that. That's what I'm picturing with Sterling and rounding a corner on a tricycle in this obstacle course with chariots of fire playing in the background.
Well, you're not wrong. The issue is no one lets anyone win. I'll be going up against my 6'10" Jersey cousin, and we get into it a little bit.
He's 6'10"?
Yeah, he's 6'10", and then we got 6'5", who played linebacker at Virginia. And we have another guy who was actually in the Chiefs training camp for a while. Good dude. So we have a whole bunch of fun out here. There's some athletes, not me, of course, but there are some actual athletes out here.
God, that's got to be tough for you to actually try to be the best athlete out there, or tell people you're the best athlete out there, and knowing that you're actually lying to yourself.
Well, no, Jason, I have the bacon excuse this year. I have the broken ankle that happened in February that can say, well, I'm not back from that.
That's
yet.
true.
So I have
easy.
the built-in excuse. You better believe if I'm not going to win, I will have an excuse.
That's right. And just like the 76ers will at some point if they don't do that. Sterling, appreciate it. Thank you. Our 76ers correspondent with the breaking news in the NFL of LeBron James becoming a Philadelphia 76er. Thank you, sir.
Of course. I'll see you Monday.
See you, bud. There's Sterling Holmes reporting live from a reunion of family members in Philadelphia, oddly enough. He traveled to Philly today for this announcement.
I thought I woke him up when I called him. And he goes, oh, let's go.
Well, hold on. It's Eastern time there.
He's in Indiana.
God, I always forget because it's Indiana time. Used to be Indiana time. Then they started recognizing daylight savings. I can't remember if it's Eastern or Central. I can't remember.
Central.
It's right on the cutoff point. Let's find out.
Did it happen on a Saturday or a Sunday?
Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Let's see. Most of Indiana, 80 of its 92 counties, including major cities like Indianapolis, Fort Wayne, and Bloomington, Eastern time zone. So there you go. Because that's what I thought it was when you had on the south side of the river. It was like, okay, this is Central time or Eastern time, but what is it in Indiana? It's Indiana time, so it's an hour behind. It's Central, but then they started recognizing daylight savings time, so it's Eastern time. So there you go. So it's it's damn near noon for him.
I hate time.
Please mark that. That's such a random thing. Man, I hate time. That's something that you sit around when you've smoked your 7th joint. You've had your 7th weed for the day.
Time is just so bad.
You're injecting, the marijuana cigarette into your vein. You're freebasing pot. And you're like, man, you know what, dude, I hate time. Time is it's a construct for the man, So you live your life by their rules, man. So your whole life is governed by time. I just want to live, I hate time. Thank you, Michael.
What time is it?
Game time. Ooh. All right, wrapping up this hour. We'll talk with Matt Derrick. It's report day, and Matt Derrick is reporting for duty, sir. Matt Derrick, reporting for duty, sir. It's wet outside right now, so it's like, he's going to have to navigate through the waters. So he's like in the Naval Academy. So it's Seaman Matt Derrick heading to St. Joe to get ready to report for duty, sir. We'll talk with the man from Chiefs Digest and 41 is the mic. What he's expecting today.
Will he be the first one there?
That's going to start tomorrow, though.
I think it starts today.
It should. Matt Derrick next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you. Michael Darcy heading up until 2 o'clock. We'll talk with Mick Schaefer coming up in the noon hour. Right now, let's talk with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast, joining us here in the zone on a Friday. Matt, how are you, sir?
I am doing reasonably well, Jason. The plan was to be in St. Joe by now.
Okay.
And the plan for today did not go entirely according to schedule, so I'm a little bit off. So I'm reporting to you from the north side of Platte City. I'm
okay.
Just choosing to try and I'm cruising to the parking lot of if they were a sponsor I would mention them, but I don't think they're sponsors, so
That's
who
fine.
cares?
That's fine.
But
Yeah.
cruising through the parking lot here, trying to just find a space that I can be quiet, no road noise, no distractions.
That's nice of you.
Very safe for everyone, and most importantly, there was another reason, but I can't remember what it was. So,
Well, you know what? Just to make sure there's no, you're driving and then the phone cuts out while you're talking, and then we don't know what you say, and then you didn't know the last 30 seconds of what you said wasn't on the air, and then that whole thing, avoiding that is always fine.
I have full bars of 5G.
Yes.
So that was another consideration. I thought, I could go another exit, but
No, just do it right here.
dicey.
That works.
Yeah.
It's perfect, man. So did the rain upset the plans that maybe you were planning? Because I do wonder how much the rain will upset what could be, that B-roll video and those posting on the internet if it's raining pretty good and the guys reporting. That might just be, holding their trash bag of clothes and running in, or having an umbrella and you can't really see them, or a hat and they're just running inside. That wouldn't be as fun.
No, and right now it's been spotty rain, so I haven't been looking at the radar, so I don't know what it looks like for St. Joe at between 2 and 3 when people are going to be rolling in. But remember, too, the Chiefs, it's no longer report day is no longer as exciting as it was once upon a time. Because there's no deadline. Back in the day, it was hey, the players had to be there by 2:00 and everything. And now it's just hey, as long as you're there by tomorrow morning and for the rookies in the minicamp, it's even less so. It's they got to be there and everything like that, but a certain time. But again, it's nobody wants to show up when the media's out there.
Yeah, that's true. And there's no Anthony Sherman. What's Sherman going to look like? What's he going to show up with?
Without Sherman and Colquitt to be
That's
the
right.
instigators and everything. James Winchester doesn't have his crew anymore. So
That's right. And I would love the reaction. Here's the video I would love. I would love the video of some of the top draft picks from big schools. Mansour Delane, LSU, Peter Woods, Clemson, Oklahoma, R. Mason Thomas, bigger school draft picks that walk into the dorm for the first time and see where they're going to be staying for the next month compared to what the bed and room they've been staying at the last 3 or 4 years in college.
I'll admit that having been in Scanlon Hall and everything, it's not the worst college dorm in the world.
No,
it's been spruced up, and they've taken care of it for the players. So, if anything, I think the students at Missouri Western got a
That's
pretty
true.
decent dorm there.
That's true.
For everything.
But I would love the reaction though of their first this isn't the beautiful apartment complex built on campus for the football players at Clemson and LSU and Oklahoma and all the other Power 5 schools.
But the crazy thing is that I think that there's just the whole being in the NFL thing.
Yeah,
I think gives you a little bit of rose-colored glasses. So they kind of come in and they're just I can't believe I'm in the NFL. This is the dream come true. It's great and everything. The best responses are from the Dave Toves and the Dave Merritts who are they go full, Danny Glover from Lethal Weapon. I mean, they're just too old for this stuff, Jason.
I love that. Man, I love that reference so much. Eric Bieniemy returning. Like, EB is a no-nonsense dude, and so I bet EB would be like, I don't care. Let's go. Let's play football. I'm staying in here versus I don't know what the accommodations were like for the Chicago Bears and their, training camp or whatever, but I think EB would be a guy like, let's do that. DeMarco Murray, Chad O'Shea, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure the Bears train at their headquarters and everything.
Okay.
So, yeah, I mean, he gets to probably stay every night in his bed.
Yeah, there you go. But he's used to it. He knows. And I think there's probably a pretty decent chance that the rookies walk in and go, as you said, oh, this isn't that bad, because they've probably been warned by others and vets like, well, wait till you get to St. Joe. Wait till you better enjoy whatever bed you're in right now. Wait till you get to St. Joe. And then they get there like, okay, well, this isn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, much worse. Okay, here we go. Plus, as you said, the eyes wide in the, man, I'm getting ready for my first training camp in the NFL. It's real now that tomorrow morning I'm going to wake up and I'm going to have to pass a conditioning test in what will be incredibly hot and humid and muggy conditions, because it won't be a training camp in St. Joe if the weather didn't cooperate for the first workout for the rookies and quarterbacks for it to be mid-90s, high humidity, and just a hot, unbearable wet blanket, what Ichiro Suzuki would describe as Kansas City in the summer. That's what it's going to be at St. Joe for the next 3 or 4 days.
I feel like one of those rats every single day, Jason. And I say that, moving in day isn't what it used to be, and it's not for the veterans. I do forget that now, however, that I think it's part of the hazing ritual. The Chiefs don't really tell the rookies about what time to avoid and everything.
Oh, yeah.
So you do get rookies who do come in for the perp walk and do get, shot on video and end up with, again, shots of them carrying things into the building that they really did not mean to, parading through in front of the media. I won't put names on anything, but I know, players have been a little embarrassed that they're bringing in their Legos or their Ulta beauty bag or their $500 worth of Costco snacks.
That's great. I love the juxtaposition between, like, football guy or somebody that's been established or has a little bit more style. Let's say, for instance, Patrick Mahomes with his rolling luggage, the Armani or Versace or whatever, rolling beautiful luggage, the Louis Vuitton that he's rolling in with his, sunglasses and perfectly picked out outfit, whatever he's going to be wearing when he reports today, and his beautiful luggage and his really nice bag. And then you've got the football guy that comes in with just a trash bag with his stuff. He just has a trash bag over his shoulder like Santa, and showing up to report for training camp.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to a certain degree, because it's like, what, and that's a great trope question that I'm sure someone will be asked in the next 4 days or so when the veterans report. What's the one item you got to bring to camp with you and everything?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about this. You don't have to bring clothes, because
that's true.
Do you guys? They're not. I have never seen a player at camp not in Chiefs gear. I mean, they're not bringing their own clothes up there. I mean, maybe they bring something for leaving and everything if they're like going straight to the airport or something. But I mean, by and large, they're wearing Chiefs gear all day long, and that's all provided by the club.
That's a good point.
So they got the equipment guys doing the laundry for them and everything. So you don't have to bring that. I mean, the veterans will bring their own pillows. That's a veteran move. It's not uncommon to bring, even though you know what? And this is the other thing that the Chiefs have done the last few years, is that they've like rented furniture for the players, so they don't have to bring their own mattress pads or covers or
nice.
Egg cartons, that you guys used to take to your dorm rooms.
Absolutely.
They've been bringing in some top end beds and everything like this for the players, so you don't have to do that anymore. I mean, what do you need? I mean, your PS5, that's about it.
Yeah, that's true. I do wish, though, I'm a little disappointed that I know these are not open to the public, and then Wednesday's the first one, but that's season ticket holders, and then Thursday is, open to the public and people. I wish it was, this weekend, because I'm in this triathlon, and little man and little miss and my wife were all going to be there, and it's at Smithville Lake. And I'm like, this would have been perfect for the triathlon to be done at like 9:30 and then head over and watch some practice. But that's not the case. We're just going to drive all the way back, and then I'll have to figure out another time to go up to St. Joe. That's a personal thing. Unless I just, like, can I sneak in? Like, can I just sit on like a hill or something with binoculars? That's what I'm going to do. That's not going to work for me. Matt Derrick is our guest. All right, let's get into some real topics here. We got into this conversation yesterday, myself and Jack and Michael, and it wasn't a planned topic. We just sort of stumbled onto it, and we discussed it, and I was thinking about, you know what, I'm going to get Matt Derrick's thoughts on this. Is Rashee Rice reporting to training camp today?
I've wondered that myself. I've tried to poke her in and see if anybody will share whether he's going to be there or not. I have not heard. I mean, I think he should be. It would be, I think, appropriate. He's certainly eligible to be there. He's coming off of an injury and surgery, and and it was expected to be, maybe ready by the beginning of camp. I mean, this would be the appropriate time for him to be there, and the team isn't required to necessarily put anybody on the PUP list or anything like that until the veterans arrive. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what we hear from Andy Reid today about that, and about what, because I know he'll be asked about Rashee and what his situation is. I mean, even if he's injured and even if he's rehabbing, I think it would be a good sign to his teammates to be there, since he missed all of OTAs, and just getting here early to get acclimated and start, getting some, even if it's off the field work and your calisthenics and doing your rehab, this would be the place to do it, because that's where everybody is. I mean, it's not like there's anybody back home in Kansas City holding down the fort. Everybody's in St. Joe. So if you need to keep doing rehab, this is the place to be. We'll see, but I think he absolutely should be here for this mini camp, even if it's just 2 days, because they usually give the veterans day 3 off. But I think it would be an important signal to his teammates and coaches that he's here, he's serious, he's ready to get to work.
Yeah, I'm with you, and maybe it's too much weight put on it, but for me, I think reporting today or not, and he may report later tonight, and all of the media may have left, and then he shows up, and it's like, Rashee Rice isn't there, and then we find out tomorrow, actually, Rashee Rice is here. So who knows? But maybe I'm putting too much importance on this, but I think it goes a long way, at least for me, in how do you establish trust again? How do you establish that you're fully in this year? You went through the issue of going to jail. You had the cleanup of the knee, and then you had to rehab in jail. You got to go to some of the rehab facilities there as well. So that, may have worked out for you. But it's quarterbacks, rookies, and those that are injured that'll be rehabbing. He falls into that category, and you can report early if you want to. There's nothing wrong with getting there early to get some extra work in. To me, I just think it goes a long way for it's Rashee Rice's contract year. He said he wants JSN money. He had the issue over the summer that it's it's a fully serious time. I'm ready to go, and I'm ready to get back at it for what should be, knock on wood, the first season in 3 years that he's going to play, or at least would be eligible to play all year. We know he got injured a couple of years ago. Last year suspended. No suspension, not injured yet. So, as it stands right now, ready to go for, week 1. I think it would go a long way for me and others if he shows up today and is like, let's get at it. I'm ready to go.
I think you're absolutely right, and and once again, I mean, mentioned the wanting JSN money. You get money like that because teams believe that you're committed to the process and that you love football. And that you're going to be there. You're responsible, and that you're accountable, and all of these things. And how do you get JSN money? You get it by showing up and being there, and proving to your teammates and your coaches that you're bought in and you're 100% in. That is something that I think that fans and have certainly questioned. Coaches haven't questioned it publicly, but you got to wonder. Hey, if there are times that the Chiefs and even his teammates just wonder where his head is and what's really going on. Well, the best way to signal where your head is and what you're thinking about things and how committed you are to the process is to be there. So And let's face it too. I mean, there's a lot of changes going on in this offense. He missed all of the installs that were going on during the off season. So even being here as the rookies go through a refresher would be great for him. Even if he's not on the field and he's just on the sideline, being in the meetings over the next couple of days, there's plenty of other things that you can do as an injured player, even if you're on the sidelines. And yeah, if he's not going to be in Kansas City next year, he's going to be looking for a contract elsewhere. There are absolutely people around the league that are going to be paying attention to Rashi all throughout training camp.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of a few years ago when Mahomes was having the practices down in Dallas, and McCole Hardman wasn't there for a couple of them, and everybody was watching the videos like, "Where's McCole?" And then we interviewed McCole at the Super Bowl, or maybe it was I can't remember what it was, but he said, "I can't be on Pat's ass all day, I can't be." And so, but he got a lot of criticism, McCole Hardman did, for not showing up to that, and that was on your own time. And it was like, why isn't he committed? These other guys are showing up and getting the connection with Patrick Mahomes. Why isn't he doing that? And I feel like if that was criticism worthy at that time, then showing up early a couple of days for training camp, I think would be that as well. And I think it would go a long way for the Chiefs, for them, and Chad O'Shea, and Eric Bieniemy, and Andy Reid, and maybe Brett Veach and Clark Hunt of, okay, yeah, this guy is committed, versus if he doesn't show up and he's there, Monday or Tuesday at report day, it's like, or I guess it would be the 28th is report day for the veterans. That'd be Tuesday, right? So Tuesday is showing up then. It's like, okay, well, he showed up at the time he was supposed to, right? He showed up when he was supposed to, but, you do the bare minimum or you do a little bit extra because you're showing that you're fully committed. So we'll see when it's
we'll see, and we'll see what Rashi has to say for himself when he does make an appearance before the media during camp. I mean, I can't imagine that the Chiefs are going to put him in the witness relocation program. I mean, he's going to have to meet with the media at some point, and I get, the first thing he'll probably say is that he's probably not going to mention anything about the time that he spent with the state and its employees and its facility. But you can't. It's not easy to take everything. I mean, off limits. Then you're going to have to talk about your injury, and you're going to be asked about the rehab, and he's going to be asked about a lot of things. And again, I mean, I think how he handles all of that is, I mean, this is what he needs to understand, and certainly his agents need to understand it too. Let me explain it to him. The Chiefs aren't necessarily obligated to. I don't put this on them because they're in their own best interest. What they want is they want the player to perform for them to his best abilities. It's not their job to try and get him JSN money. If anything, the team would like to be able to get the most out of him for the least amount of money. So telling Rashee Rice, hey, you would be better off answering some of these questions straight on and tackling some of these things and being honest and open with some of this stuff. And, if you want to keep the legal stuff off the table because, he probably still has some legal issues that are pending and not everything's completely paid off. There's obviously other elements to this. So, hey, if he just wants to say, I'm not going to talk about any of the legal things, then you need to be pretty open and honest about everything else because, again, that's how you rehabilitate your image, not just with the fans, but around the league because, I've had people say that they want Rashee Rice gone, trade him, get him out of here. Who are you going to trade him to? I mean, nobody's taking Rashee. Nobody, despite the talent. I mean, if you put Rashee Rice on the market right now, what are you getting? A conditional seventh?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure anybody. I mean, there's Stephon Diggs out there. I mean, he's by all accounts healthy and ready to play. He was one 1,000-yard receiver last year. I mean, he wasn't in jail for 30 days. I mean, there's other options.
I'm genuinely curious, and I know he'll probably, whenever he talks, he'll say, hey, I'm not going to talk about those. I'm genuinely curious about the rehab part of it. Like, I don't think that would be off limits. Like, hey, you were there, you were rehabbing. What was that process like? Like, you were going elsewhere, how, difficult or easy? I'm actually just curious to see what that was like for him to go through the rehab part of it. I don't think that should be off limits. That's not anything legal where, you're doing this or doing that. I think that would be interesting to see how he was able to do that while he was there in jail. Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest. 41 is the mic. Let's take a timeout. We'll come back. Matt, I want to talk about storylines, things we're watching. Michael Darcy, Jack, and I went through our top 3 storylines for for training camp. And so I want to get a couple of your top storylines that you'll be watching. Personally, it doesn't have to be the general consensus what the storylines are. What's Matt Derrick's top storylines that he'll be looking for? We'll get into that. The new stadium renderings are out. We'll talk about a little bit of that with Matt Derrick as well. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. More Zone on a Friday next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Jason Anderson with you, hanging out on a Friday edition of The Zone. Heading up until 2 o'clock. An hour from now, we'll talk with and hang out with Mick Schaefer on a Friday, rainy Friday morning into afternoon. Matt Derrick on his way to St. Joe. He is reporting today. It's a report day for the media, report day for rookies, quarterbacks, and those that are still rehabbing. Matt, Michael, and Jack and I went through our top 3 storylines that we will be watching specifically at training camp. And Jack and I both went with number 1 being Patrick Mahomes, like by a wide margin, and then sort of a gap there. Michael, and again, this is, everybody's own personal opinion. Michael went with he said, I'm putting Patrick Mahomes aside. I'm not going to, that's an obvious one. And so he went with a different one outside of just Patrick Mahomes. For you, is it number 1 storyline? Is it Patrick Mahomes? And then, there's a gap in number 2, or do you maybe you look at it a little bit different and go, yeah, obviously it's Patrick Mahomes, but the number 1 storyline for me, Matt Derrick, that I'll be watching is, blank. How do you sort of view that?
Yeah, I mean, I think all 3 of you actually have right perspectives. I mean, it is Patrick Mahomes by a wide margin, but if you say, well, everybody knows that and set it aside, I think that's a completely reasonable point. I mean, it's hey, the sun's up this morning. I mean, yeah, Patrick Mahomes is the biggest story about this camp, and and it's going to get covered more than it needs to, which I think is, to me, kind of an underlying aspect of Michael's point and everything is I think we're going to hear more about Mahomes than we need to hear. It's going to be covered ad nauseum, and everybody's going to probably break down different things. I'm just waiting for, when training camp highlights start leaking out and everything, and then people are going to be breaking down how he looks and how the knee is and whether it's bending correctly and if he actually looks like he's rehabbed. And I mean, it's going to be over the top and completely nonsense for the most of it. But, because, I mean, honestly, it's just there's a handful of checks that you need to get with Mahomes. He, first, obviously, is he going to be ready to go? Can he pass the conditioning test? He didn't take it during OTAs. Perfectly reasonable. He looks like he's in healthy enough shape to pass the conditioning test, so I'm not terribly concerned about that. But it's step 1. He hasn't taken part in any team activities yet, so the first time he's out there with 11 on 11, that's going to be a check mark. Same thing with when they get into pads. Are you going to ease him in, or is he just going to be handling all the reps for quarterback 1 from the get-go? And is he going to, play in one of the preseason games? Is he going to get a drive or 2 to just get that first hit and get a taste of the action? I mean, these are all important checkpoints that, leading up to the beginning of the season. And, I think that we're all kind of, just because Mahomes has been so certain that he's going to, start in week 1, that we just kind of take it for granted. But it's not. I mean, there's obviously a chance that he's not ready by week 1. I don't think it's a high chance, but it's a possibility, and obviously there's a possibility for a setback. We don't know, but either way, I mean, whether you think it's covered too much or appropriately, I think Mahomes is the biggest story about camp.
Do you? There have been reports that he's fully cleared for training camp, and fully cleared is a relative term. Fully cleared that he can participate in training camp, or fully cleared that he can do everything, and he's perfectly fine. Yeah. And 11 on 11, no big deal. It's going to be training camp like it would have been last year. It's just Patrick Mahomes. How would you interpret that if somebody says, or the report out there, that Patrick Mahomes has been fully cleared for training camp? Is that fully cleared that he can participate? He's not going to be a pup list. He's ready to go for training camp, or and you're still easing him into some things, or do you think it's fully cleared that he's Patrick Mahomes now, and 11 on 11, no matter whatever the drill is, he's out there?
I've been doing this now long enough, Jason, and maybe I'm just cynical, but when somebody says that at this point, I think that it's either it's someone who doesn't understand how it works, or there's someone who's being disingenuous and just trying to stir things up a little bit. Because bottom line, I mean, there's several aspects to being cleared for training camp, and in Kansas City, they're different than they are maybe at some other teams. But you have the medical aspect of it, which, doctors have to look at you and make sure that, they don't think that you're going to get hurt again, that, you're healthy enough to protect yourself, all of these things that you have to clear. And obviously he wouldn't have been on the field in OTAs had he not passed that test.
Good point.
But in Kansas City, we talk about the conditioning test, and it gets overblown a little bit. But at the same time, that's a part of the Chiefs' process. If you don't pass the conditioning test, you're not cleared to play. They haven't run the conditioning test, so he's not fully cleared to participate in camp.
That's a good point.
I mean, it's just like
Patrick Mahomes has been fully cleared. Parentheses. If he passes conditioning test in parentheses or close parentheses, that's what it should have been.
I mean, it's definitely putting the cart before the horse.
That's funny.
So it is one of those synergisms. Is that what it is? I'm getting old and
go with cynicism.
I can't pronounce words.
Cynicism, whatever. It's jaded. It's being from Matt Derrick being around it so long. He's been jaded. What would be your number two then? If we're like, okay, Patrick Mahomes, do you want to know our number two or give your number two first?
I would love to know your number twos.
Okay, so
we're going to cut some point.
No, it's fine. We started with Jack, so we went Jack, Michael, and then me because I started off with Patrick. So Jack, his number two after the Mahomes thing was Josh Simmons, his weight. What he looks like, how's he moving? Did he put on more weight from when we saw him training for a UFC fight to now? What does he look like? Michael's after Patrick Mahomes was R. Mason Thomas and his usage. Is he going to be an every down defensive end? Is he somebody they might have gone Omar Norman Lott with and put weight on to try to make him an every down defensive end? Is he going to be in there on obvious pass rush stuff? Like what's that? And my number two was... And I might have cheated on this, Matt, and I've said this a couple of times. I might have cheated because they went specifically with players. I went with a group and said, what I'm going to be watching is the interaction with, Eric Bieniemy returning. Oh, and he will light you up, right? It's details, and get ready to be coached by Eric Bieniemy, right? Do we hear that Bieniemy yelling and not afraid to curse somebody out? And Chad O'Shea with the wide receivers, and I think DeMarco Murray with the running backs too, working with Kenneth Walker and working with, Emmett Johnson and DeMarcado, and even Brashard Smith. I mean, does Brashard Smith get a little bit better coaching to become maybe a better running back or a screen game player with that? So maybe I cheated, but my number two that I'll be watching and paying attention to is seeing some of the interactions and anecdotes maybe that come from the new coaches there and new old coach.
Yeah, I like that you all had different ones.
Yes.
And I think they're all legitimate storylines too. And I've got a different one as well, and it's also one that we've kind of already talked about. It's Rashee Rice. Where's he at health-wise? Where's he at as, kind of as a teammate at this point? How, we haven't really heard a lot from the players, but there's going to be, now that he's back, there's going to be more questions for his teammates about having him back. Every receiver is going to be asked about, Rashee. Coaches are going to be asked about Rashee, especially like you mentioned EB, being back and what he thinks about Rashee. I mean, it's going to be a topic for a lot of different people. You're going to hear his name a lot, and then obviously once Rice talks, then that's going to be a conversation. But ultimately, it's going to be, hey, when is he ready? Is he going to be ready for the beginning of camp, or is he going to start on the PUP list? How involved is he going to be? I mean, before the surgery, before the OTAs, there was it seemed to be like a consensus that, hey, the Chiefs are going to be a three-headed monster this year. It's going to be Kenneth Walker out of the backfield. It's going to be Rashee Rice on the outside, and it's going to be Travis Kelce over the middle. And that's, the offense is going to run through those three guys. Well, if Rashee Rice is not ready yet, or if he's not the guy that he's looked like in parts of the last three seasons, then you're losing one of the heads of your monster, and it's going to, I think, dramatically affect this team. So, what level is he at health-wise? What's his athleticism like? Where's his head at? All these things. Will he be ready by week one? I think those are all big questions for this team.
Yeah, the Eric Bieniemy Rashee Rice thing I think is really interesting because Rashee Rice hasn't been coached by Eric Bieniemy. Rashee Rice got here in 23, and Eric Bieniemy had moved on in 2023 to be with the Commanders. It was Nagy's first year in 23 when they went and beat the 49ers in the Super Bowl. So this would be the full-on first experience of an OC that'll be in your face and won't care about your ego or what you think of him because he's doing whatever he can to make you better. That's going to be an interesting interaction. And I'm not saying Rashee Rice is going to be combative or anything. It's just when I've talked about Rashee Rice, it hasn't been from the standpoint, as you brought up with the different coaches in EB, but I think it's going to be really interesting to see that interaction of how much or how hard on Rashee Rice Eric Bieniemy may be if he views Rashee Rice as a key to the season. And, hey, if we can get this out of Rashee and that out of Rashee, we can win the Super Bowl. So, therefore, me and Chad O'Shea, it's our job to make sure he's ready to go. And if that means we are on him constantly, then too bad that's what it's going to mean.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I'm glad you mentioned Chad O'Shea because that was the other piece I wanted to mention as well. It's a different coaching staff for him from straight up, and Chad O'Shea is a different coach than he's had the last couple of years with the Chiefs. There's going to be more expectations and higher goals, and and not to hey, every coach is different, and it's not to diminish Connor Embry in any way, but Chad O'Shea, I mean, there's a reason he's here. That the Chiefs have a young wide receiver room. They need a leader. They need somebody that. As I think the football cliche, the leader of men, they needed somebody to come in there and take charge, and Chad O'Shea's done that from day one. I mean, you can tell that's at this point it's his wide receiver room. This isn't a player-led group. This is a coach-led group, and I think that's what they need to a certain degree because they got a lot of young guys. They don't have a veteran. The veteran that these wide receivers have looked up to and modeled themselves after the last couple of years. It's not a wide receiver. It's Travis Kelce. And I think there's good and bad with that. I mean, there's a lot of good things, especially on the football field, that you can watch from Travis Kelce. But then again, I think there have been guys in that wide receiver group who look at Travis Kelce and think, hey, I can be just like Travis off the field too. No, you cannot. Travis Kelce can do whatever he wants to off the field, and honestly, I mean, when he's on the field, he's one of the hardest working guys out there. So that should be another thing that this group models themselves after, and I don't think that they've always done that. But the other thing is that I mean, if you don't want to talk to the media, if you want to walk by the media and just smirk as you're leaving the locker room after a loss. I mean, you can't do that when you haven't been in the league 13 years and you haven't been an all-pro and you're not one of the GOATs of all time. Travis Kelce can get away with whatever he wants to because he's earned it to a certain extent. There's nobody in that wide receiver room has earned anything. And I think that's what Chad O'Shea is going to explain to every single one of them. And I think what we saw from OTAs, we see his approach working. I mean, I've never had a quibble whatsoever with Xavier Worthy's work ethic, but man, even with being in the yellow jersey and everything, I mean, I saw him doing things that he hasn't been doing the last few years in practice as far as just, extra work and getting in additional reps at things. I mean, I think that's the kind of thing you're going to get with Chad O'Shea.
Visiting with Matt Derrick. One more. What would be the next storyline for you? As we went Patrick Mahomes, and then you went with Rashee Rice and that interaction and coaches and things like that. Again, we went coaches overall. Josh Simmons, R. Mason Thomas, a couple of others that we threw in there. Jack and I had sort of a combination of cornerback / secondary. Michael went with what's the Leo Chenal role? Who's wide receiver 4? I threw in there, Peter Woods. What does he look like? Because I put Mansour Delane to the side, because the way that I look at it, Matt, if Mansour Delane is not a really good player, he would have to break 2 pretty significant trends in the NFL. One of those being, since the COVID draft, being a top 10 pick as a cornerback. Those guys have, the success rate is like 100% since the COVID draft. So that trend would have to break. And the Chiefs' ability to find and identify cornerbacks both of those trends would have to be broken for him not to be a really good player. So I put him aside, and that's why I went to Peter Woods. What would be the storyline you'd be watching, and then we'll break and talk about something else. But what would be the storyline that we went Mahomes, huge spotlight. Then you have Rashee Rice and coaches. What would be after that?
Yeah, it's one actually that you mentioned. I mean, and I was probably saying it exactly the way you did. It's cornerback / secondary. Again, the Chiefs lost almost $250 million in players walking out the door in that secondary this year between trades and free agency. You got to figure it out. I'm less concerned about safety because I think you're just talking about depth there for the most part. I like what they have at safety. They're going to be tested. There's some things that they have to figure out, and I don't know if they have complete solutions to everything, but I at least like what the elements they have there, and I think you can rank their safeties 1 through 4, 1 through 5 pretty easily. Corner is a completely different situation. It is kind of the same thing in that you put Delane aside. If Mansour Delane is not your number one corner on this team this year, something has seriously gone wrong.
Yep.
So either he's hurt or you made a bad draft pick.
Yep.
You misevaluated it. But then who's number 2? Is it Noel Williams? Is it Christian Fulton? Is it a combination of the two based on matchups? I don't know. Who's your slot corner? I mean, determining the slot corner situation and how you're going to handle that could affect like the prospects of maybe 4 or 5 different players making this team. They have more depth at that slot position than they have ever had before. They're maybe just not top end as good because, hey, Trent McDuffie has been like the best slot corner in the league for the last 4 years, but you're not going to have that option anymore. So they got to figure that out. Hey, who is 3, 4, 5, 6? What is L'Jarius Sneed? Is he a corner? Is he a safety? Is he an outside guy? Is he an inside guy? Is he even going to make this team? I don't know. I mean, there's no guarantees there with anything, I think, after your top 3 guys. And you got a lot to figure out. So, I mean, to me, right now, I could not tell you for certain. One, I think the Chiefs will keep 6 corners. Can't guarantee that. I certainly can't guarantee which 6 it's going to be, and I can't even tell you that if you did tell me which 6 it's going to be, I'm not certain I could tell you what order it's going to be. I mean, it's totally up for grabs because after Delane, and we're like, I'm with you. I mean, if Delane's not your clear-cut number 1, something's happened. Yep. But then after that, it does feel like Noel Williams and Christian Fulton are on a tier by themselves. I don't think you really know exactly where to put, L'Jarius Sneed, and then you got a lot of, younger guys competing. I mean, I would probably have Melvin Smith ahead of Kevin Knowles right now just because, I think the Chiefs are going to need more depth on the outside, and Smith is more of an outside guy where Knowles is more of an inside guy. And they've got like 4 different guys that can play the slot besides that. So that's going to be a competitive position.
Visiting with Matt Derrick. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. One more segment with Matt as he is heading up to St. Joe, and he is reporting for duty as well. More Zone coming up next. All right, we continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB, hanging out with Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Report day for the rookies, quarterbacks, and those that are rehabbing in St. Joe, and the media as well. As Matt Derrick on his way to St. Joe, Todd Lebo will be heading up there to St. Joe with Paige and getting some video and hearing from Andy Reid, and we'll see maybe Patrick Mahomes today as well. Sometime in the 2 o'clock hour, maybe earlier, maybe later, who knows? We'll see what happens with that. But if it's during the show here, we'll play it for you. If it's during the program, I'm assuming they'll play it for you as well. So keep it locked right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Matt, as it's about the rookies over the next few days, and the media will be able to watch and see some things. Is there one, maybe two or three guys that you may be looking at as UDFAs that have a real chance of making the roster? This is an interesting year where maybe that's more likely, but one or two UDFAs that you think have a chance of making the 53?
Yeah, I think there's a really good chance that several could. I would have probably 3 slots open for UDFAs right now on my 53. And I think that's by design to a degree. Remember, the Chiefs signed one of the larger undrafted free agent classes that they've had in recent years, and signed one of the larger ones in the league. And they also put more money into it. There were several players that they gave some guaranteed money to bring them in, and that was part of it, kind of extending the draft for them and trying to get guys that they can build as kind of, niche players and fill spots for the next few years. And that's another reason why I don't think that you're going to necessarily see some veterans walking in, especially at key positions. Do you want to be bringing in a veteran that's going to be taking snaps away from Cyrus Allen and Jalen Royals? Do you want to take snaps away from Peter Woods and R. Mason Thomas and Ashton Gelati? No, you want these guys to play, and I think you even want the younger guys to play. You want Ethan Downs to play, see what he can do. You want linebacker like Cam Arnold to play and see what he can do. Those are a couple of guys who aren't UDFAs, but I'm really intrigued by them. When you get into the UDFA class, it's if Nico Remigio gets replaced as a returner, I think it's by a UDFA player. And, E.J. Smith, I think, is a really intriguing candidate there. Jaden Ott is probably also a candidate, but I'd give the edge to Smith right now. It creates some number problems at running back because one of your other specialists is probably going to be Brashard Smith. And if you got 2 running backs, then you got 3 other running backs you want on the squad, so you might end up like a surplus of running backs, and then you're going to have some, game day roster construction problems too. It makes things complicated, but I think there's a pretty good chance that you might see some UDFAs make this team just strictly for special teams, and I like both those guys. I think it's going to be tougher at receiver, even though I know that there's some fan favorites there, but I think it's going to be tough. I think there's certainly some practice squad candidates there. We'll see if the Khalil Benson hype is real, whether that was just an experiment to see what he's got during OTAs, or if he's a legit candidate to challenge Jalen Moore for the right tackle job, or maybe a backup role. We'll see. Really intrigued by Cole Brevard, the defensive tackle from Texas, because again, that's a mountain that you can see from space. And, once again, getting some depth and some future at that defensive tackle spot as a guy that can be a one-tech, a zero, a nose tackle that can take up space in the middle. This team has lacked that. Mike Pennell has been the best that they've had at it, really, the last few years. And Mike's at an age where I don't think he's coming back. I think his best football's behind him, obviously. So you need some youth there, and I think he could do it. Seems like a lot of excitement about Xavier Wampa, the safety from Iowa. I thought he was pretty impressive. Again, corners, I think that there's a couple there as well, but I think it's just going to be tough number-wise. But Wouldn't surprise me if one or two of them jumps in there. I thought there were some that made some plays during OTAs, so I think that's another spot to watch. But I think there's some guys up and down this, and I mentioned Ethan Downs, mentioned Cam Arnold's a guy that I think is also pretty intriguing. He signed with Washington last year and spent the offseason with them. He had a shoulder injury, I think it was last year at Boston College. But he's a former safety, converted linebacker. I mean, the type of tweener that the Chiefs front office and Brett Veach just love. So, bringing him in, I think, he could be absolutely a great special teams player, as a guy off the bench. But he had a couple of plays as a coverage linebacker that were just outstanding. I mean, he really knows how to set up a quarterback, and I think he had one interception and a couple of deflections. He had a really good camp as just a coverage linebacker. And again, that's a weakness for the Chiefs, having a guy like that, if you can fill a niche, I mean, that's the more you can do. And having a guy like that, I mean, let me put it this way. I think I saw more out of Cam Arnold during OTAs than I probably saw out of Jeff Bossa last year. And, that's a compliment. It's not a knock necessarily against Bossa. I think it's just a compliment to Cam Arnold.
Interesting. A lot of names there, which I think shows that, one, there are some opportunities that are there. And, maybe that's why this year you've got the rookies and quarterback early report date, whereas a year ago they didn't. And could be certainly a little bit about the fact that they played 3 straight Super Bowls and, maybe giving them a little bit of a rest. But I think when you're running it back for a third year, trying to get to the Super Bowl for a fourth time, I should say, coming off 3 straight Super Bowls, then, maybe not as many spots open for rookies. Last one for you. You went through a number of different names. Is there maybe a position you think would have the easier path, the most likely position to keep a UDFA?
Right now, I would say I would probably go defensive line. There's probably offensive line, maybe an option, although there's a lot of veterans logged up there. But, if you tip 10 offensive linemen, then I think definitely, and especially because you got Khalil Benson there, who looks like an intriguing candidate. Mm-hmm. But and the Chiefs have often kept 10 defensive linemen as well. And I'll be honest, I can't necessarily get to 10 defensive linemen without including an undrafted free agent. So I think that may be another spot. And so those are I think probably the 2 easiest. Like I said, I think there's some numbers you have to kind of crawl over at some of the other spots to get there. But and running back, I mean, I think I would say the position of return specialist is another one, because I think that, it's no knock against Nico, but if the Chiefs felt like that they could get more explosion without losing ball security at punt returner and kick returner, I think they'd look for an upgrade.
Yeah, you mentioned a name that I'll keep my eye on is Xavier Wampa from Iowa, the safety. I really like him, and we'll see if there's a spot for him because, Christian Roland Wallace, is he going to be slot, moving back to safety? Shamari Connor, what's his role as an actual safety or not? Because it's, Gilman and Connor and Hicks and Christian Roland Wallace, maybe, Wampa. L'Jarius Sneed, if they play him in the Shamari Connor role or whatever. So there's a lot of intrigue from that standpoint. And I'm not saying this is the case, but if Wampa looks really good, if there was a surprise cut, and I'm not asking for this to happen, but if there was a surprise cut, I would say maybe keep an eye on Jaden Hicks. If he doesn't take a step forward and they move Connor back and they move Christian Wallace maybe to safety, and they've got a number of slot cornerbacks and they need to find a spot, and Wampa's really good and, comes out of nowhere, and a guy that had a mid-round grade by, different publications, that's one that could be a surprise. And it's like, wow, I did not expect that to happen. I hope that's not the case, because I hope it was a sophomore slump and he bursts out this year and like, all right, that's the guy we thought they were going to see. I'm not expecting the former to be the case. I think it's closer to the latter, but just a name and a player to keep an eye on in a position that maybe isn't as easy to find a spot to be able to make the team. Matt Derrick, Chiefs Digest 41 is the Mike podcast. Matt, you're the man. Appreciate it, brother. Safe travels the rest of the way there to St. Joe. Stay dry, and we'll be checking out all of the reporting and the analysis of the media being able to see the next couple of days' practices. Thank you, sir.
I appreciate you, Jason. Take care, my friend.
Absolutely. There's Matt Derrick heading up to St. Joe, reporting for duty, along with the rest of the media that'll be heading up there. Todd Lebo getting ready to head up there, as well as the rookies and quarterbacks and those that are going through rehab are reporting to St. Joe. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll continue rolling. More Zone right after this. We continue right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. Mick Schaefer will hang out with us coming up later on this hour. We got cuts before the show is over as well. Tonight, 6 o'clock, KU, K-State, game number 3 in TBT, to be determined, or the basketball tournament. Either way, game number 3 tonight with that one. It's right here on Sports Radio 810 WHB. The SEC media, preseason media poll has been released. Came out about an hour ago. And we'll go through the rankings here. 1 through 16. Number 1, Georgia. Number 2, Texas. Number 3, Ole Miss. Number 4, A&M. Number 5, LSU. LSU picked to finish 2 spots behind Ole Miss. That's the Lane Kiffin connection. And the $40 million they spent on their roster to be predicted to finish 5th. We'll see. Number 6, Alabama. Number 7, OU. Number 8, Tennessee. Number 9, Florida. Number 10, Mizzou. Number 11, South Carolina. Number 12, Auburn. 13, Vandy. 14, Kentucky. 15, Mississippi State. And coming in dead last, number 16, Arkansas. As it relates to Mizzou's schedule, the predicted order of finish creates Mizzou's schedule being a very much feast or famine with their 9-game SEC schedule that they play. Because if we're going off the rankings there, they will play in the season at some point number 14, 15, and 16. They will also play number 1, 2, 3, and 4. Predicted order of finish in the SEC. They will play number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. But they'll also play number 14, 15, and 16. You would hope or expect that they would go 3-0 in the non-con. And if they were to take care of the 14, 15, and 16 ranked predicted order of finish SEC media poll, that would then give them 6 wins if they then took care of business. But then you've got Florida, number 9, OU, number 7, but then that 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got a stretch of 5 games over 6 weeks because there's a bye week mixed in. They've got a stretch of 5 games where they play number 4, number 3, number 16, number 2, number 1. A&M picked 4th, Ole Miss picked 3rd, Arkansas picked last, Texas picked 2nd, Georgia picked 1st. 5-game stretch where they will play the top 4 teams in the predicted order of finish in the SEC media poll that came out today.
It just means more.
It does mean more. But they also play 14, 15, and 16. So
are those games sprinkled in the middle? Are they at the end?
15 gets the season started in conference play at Mississippi State. Number 16, Arkansas is coming off a bye, and that separates the A&M Ole Miss, number 4, number 3, then a bye week, then Arkansas, then Texas, Georgia, number 2, number 1, then Kentucky, number 14, and then you finish with Oklahoma, number 7. So they are mixed in game 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 5, and 8 in the SEC 9-game schedule. Number 1, first game is against 15, 5th game against 16, 8th game against number 14. Then you also have
the schedule's going to be tough regardless.
For sure. And you also have 2 games at home that are against that middle pack, number 7 Oklahoma, number 9 Florida. 2 teams that are ranked ahead of you, but not national championship caliber teams. You don't play LSU this year. You go to Ole Miss. You go to Georgia. Those might just be chalked up as losses. But Florida and Oklahoma at home, if you can split that, take care of business, non-conference, and those 3 teams, 14, 15, and 16, that would give you 6 wins. Split Florida, OU, gives you 7. Find a way to knock off one of the big dogs, gives you 8, and I think that is a really productive season this year for Mizzou in a turnover year that has the flipping of the schedule. Last year, people were hoping they would make the playoffs because the schedule was conducive to this team can win 9 or 10 games. Schedule's pretty rough this year for Mizzou because it just means more, Michael.
Did you say that Texas is at home?
Texas is home.
Okay.
Yeah, but
that might be the one you steal.
But that also is one where you might just say, take that on the road because are you going to win at home or in Austin? Would it matter? Like the Georgia one, I'm like, okay, it's fine. They're on the road because you're probably going to lose that regardless. Although Mizzou does randomly play Georgia well. historically of the 13 years they've been in the SEC, but I've always been like a proponent of if there's a team that is just like so much better than you, might as well take that one on the road. Just get that one. But the teams that are your peers, you'd like to play those at home. Kentucky, OU, Florida are home games. Kentucky thinks they're better than Mizzou in football, but that's foolish. You'd better win that game. That has also been a random where in their time in the SEC, Kentucky has been a bugaboo for Mizzou. But you got to win that one. You have to beat Arkansas, whether that's home or on the road. You have to go to Mississippi State and win. They're picked second to last in the SEC this year. You got to win that one. And then split OU Florida gives you, and find a way to knock off one of the four that gives you 8. But if you lose one of the non-cons, you lose one of the gimmies, and you don't split Oklahoma and Florida, you're looking at not making a bowl. That's the range with Mizzou this year. If they win 2 of the 3 quote-unquote gimmies, if you want to call it that, don't split OU Florida, and then lose to the teams you're expected to lose to, which is number 1 Georgia, number 2 Texas, number 3 Ole Miss, number 4 A&M.
I wouldn't put Mississippi State in that category, but what's the biggest, I guess, what do you call it? It's the NFL term, sleeping pick, trap game. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, what's the biggest trap game for Mizzou on the schedule? You mentioned Kentucky being a bugaboo.
I don't think it's Kentucky, although it's between at Georgia and versus OU. But at that point, I don't think you can. I think they'll be in a position where you can't really take anything for granted, because if they're sitting. So I said if you win your non-conference and your 3 gimmies, that gives you 6, but split Oklahoma, Florida, and lose to the really, really good teams this year, that would put you at 7 wins. So if that puts you at 7, that means coming off the Georgia game, you'd only have 5. So you'd have Kentucky at home and Oklahoma. If you don't beat Florida, let's say you lose to Florida, you'd be sitting there with 5 wins getting ready for Kentucky and Oklahoma at home. That Kentucky game can't be a trap game. You know what I mean? You've got to go be a bowl game, be a bowl team, maybe win 7. So now if you've already beaten Florida and it's like split Florida OU and win your non-conference, then you would have 6 wins at that point with you'd have 6 wins at that point getting ready for Kentucky. Because I said split Florida, Oklahoma, that means you would lose to Oklahoma, but you have already beaten Florida. So then Kentucky would be for your 7th win that season, and Oklahoma would be there to beat both of them, would give you 8 wins. But I don't think that would be that would where it would be potentially a trap game is if you already had your 6th win. But if I'm looking at maybe I don't know that there is a trap game, to be honest with you. Maybe Mississippi State.
Really? Okay.
But it's your first game of the SEC schedule.
That would be a pretty bad
trap with
game.
Florida the week after that. But then you got A&M at Ole Miss. You got a bye week, and then Arkansas on the road. I don't know that you can have a trap game. I don't know. Can you have a trap game coming off a bye?
Who do they play after Arkansas?
It's Texas at home.
Oh.
Yeah, that would be one. But it's like, is it a trap game if you're coming off a bye? Like that would be bad if you've got a week.
Maybe not a trap game, but that sounds just like the perfect Arkansas on the road. You come out flat because you're thinking of Texas.
And you've had a week off, and you went through the Texas A&M, Ole Miss, Florida A&M, Ole Miss, and you go, oh, can we catch our breath? Can the bell ring so we can go over to our corner and get some water and get a cut man? Let's get some Vaseline on the face so we can stop taking these right hooks, man. And then you just sort of go through the motions at Arkansas because you've got Texas and Georgia right there the next couple of weeks. That could be one of those.
What would the ramifications be of a 5-win Mizzou football team?
I think it would be clearly disappointing, but...
Is it catastrophic?
No, I don't think it's catastrophic.
Just with the schedule, it's hard to say that.
A 5-win season would mean that you lost all 4 of those those tough games. Then you lost to Oklahoma and Florida. And then you either lost a non-conference game or you lost one of the easier games, quote unquote easier games, with number 14, 15, or 16 as their predictive order. That would be rough, especially if it's a 5-win season and they lose to Kansas. That would be to where it's like, all right, Eli.
The hot seat's up?
It would be going into the year to where it's like, hey, let's start to prove that this is more than just, more than words. Extreme. Let's get to the extreme here. All right. Let's show that it's a little
extremely important.
That's right.
So, as a Mizzou fan, would you rather them go 4-8 and beat Kansas, or go, 5-7?
No,
and lose to Kansas.
4-8 and beat Kansas. Because it's still it's
You
not a
suck
bowl
either
game.
way,
It's not a bowl
but-
game. Yeah, it's a bad season either way. So it would be that. But I think
It's funny that Kansas is the benchmark for maybe being on the hot seat.
Well, it depends on what you do the rest of them, though.
Sure.
Because if you were to lose to Kansas, that sucks. But do you knock off Texas at home? Do you rebound and be like, all right, well, Kansas, what happened in the dash, right? I always talk about the dash. This team went 7-5. Okay, well, what happened in the dash? Or this team went 6-6, or it went 5-7. What happened in the dash? Ahmad Hardy didn't look the same, and Austin Simmons got hurt or something. Like last year, you go through and look at what took place in the season, and they're like, okay, so how did they go from, hoping they would make a playoff to ending up in the spot that they did? All right, they had 4 different quarterbacks that played last year. And, yeah, Prabula wasn't exactly the guy that you were hoping he would be, but he was clearly the guy that would have helped you get to maybe 9 or 10 wins. But coming off back-to-back double-digit wins, 11-2, 10-3, and then a, quote, down year being 8-5 last year, but that was 8-5 in a year where you were hoping the schedule would work in your favor and you can get to 10 wins and maybe make a college football playoff. But you had some issues at quarterback, which cost you. Because I talked about Fernando Mendoza, that Mendoza made some quarterbacks a lot of money this offseason. Because I guarantee you, if Eli Drinkwitz had a crystal ball and you saw how good Mendoza was winning the Heisman, helping Indiana win a national championship, how many more millions of dollars would you have offered Mendoza to be the quarterback at Mizzou as opposed to Bo Prabula? 3, 4, 5, whatever he got at Indiana. Let's say he got $3 million at Indiana. Would Mizzou give him 8? Because how good they were defensively, and what they did running the football with Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts and that offensive line and the wide receivers they had, but no quarterback to get those guys the ball, and then you put Mendoza in there, you might be talking about a team that goes 10-2, 11-1, and makes a college football playoff and wins a game or something like that. That's a massive boon for Mizzou. Indiana just landed the number 87 player in America in football. That's not basketball. Number 87 player in American basketball, okay, cool. Number 87 player in American football, and it's a quarterback. To go to Indiana. Like, that's what Mendoza did. Because Mendoza goes there, plays the way that he does, wins a national championship Heisman. Now they get the 1 or 2 quarterback in America to go play for Kurt Signetti. To Indiana football. No offense, Trent Green. No offense, Trent. Love you. And Indiana's a national championship team. I mean, they pulled off the absolute improbable. What was an impossible dream 2 years ago is reality that Indiana's the reigning national champions. But that's what it meant for Indiana. Whatever they paid Fernando Mendoza, he was underpaid. Whatever they paid him, he was worth more. It's like Patrick Mahomes in a capped league. Whatever you pay Patrick Mahomes, he's underpaid because it's a salary capped league. If it was uncapped and he was just a free agent, he might be making double what he's making right now for what teams would pay for what Patrick Mahomes can do for your team. And so having that year where you had all the injuries, and that sucked, but there's some excuses built in with some turnover on defense. Like if you had that defense this year, if Austin Simmons was a guy that it was like, okay, this guy's pretty good. There's a reason he was going to be starting over Trinidad Chambliss at Ole Miss before he got injured. All right. And you have Ahmad Hardy that's fully healthy, and Eli Drinkwitz saying he thinks Ahmad Hardy's going to come back better. Well, okay, sure. As Mahomes said, I'll see it when I believe it. Obviously meaning I'll believe it when I see it. You hope that's the case. But what does the defense look like losing some players? What does the offensive line look like? What does Austin Simmons look like? So I think there's a number of factors in that. What happened in the dash? Because if you say Missouri can make the college football playoff, they went 8-5. Well, what happened in the dash? Ravaged by injury at the quarterback spot. Okay, that makes sense. And they still went 8-5? Okay, well, now you're talking about maybe it's a better season than going into the year. Maybe it's a better season than you would have thought it would have been.
Or if in the dash it's questionable coaching decisions.
Absolutely, yes.
Then you have a much different conversation.
Right. In the dash, it was everybody's healthy. You got lucky on a couple of things, and then you had some bad decisions along the way, and this game cost you, that game cost you. Not to go, it's the most recent example, so this isn't Mizzou, let's bring in a rough year for KU. They're
a great example for everything.
But 2 years ago, when, the booth was being built and they were playing at Sporting and Arrowhead, you had some end-of-half turnovers, late game issues, close games that somehow you end up losing. And it was like that season could have been massively different if some certain things, a player here or two, happened in that game. They could have won 3 or 4 more games. If that's the case, the case with Mizzou and they're 5-7, I think it's different than you go into the offseason and go, wow, he's getting all this money and he's paying these players and he's securing the bag with some of these guys. And you go 5-7 and everybody was healthy, and it was like bad decisions or turnovers here or there that just cost you what seemed like poor coaching at times.
It's hard to draw a comparison because the dash that happened for KU that year has been the standard. There's been those questionable coaching decisions. There's been those what if moments. What if they make this play? What if they don't fumble the ball here?
Yeah.
That has been the last 3 years at Kansas. So I don't know if that is a fair comp for Missouri football, but a question that I would ask, how many more times does Eli Drinkwitz get a chance to get the quarterback right? Because that roster's not cheap at all. And he's done a great job building the running game, the offensive line, the defense. But if you can't get the quarterback right, none of it matters.
Yeah, I mean, he got it right in a completely unexpected way with Brady Cook. But it wasn't supposed to be Brady Cook's team. That was a true son, dreamed of being the Mizzou quarterback growing up. And then he's one of the few quarterbacks in Mizzou history to have back-to-back double-digit win seasons. It's Chase Daniel and Brady Cook. Because thinking back to 2013-14, they had, was that James Franklin to Matty Mock? Yeah, it was James Franklin's last year, Matty Mock's first year as a starter. So that's 2 different quarterbacks that had back-to-back double-digit win seasons. Chase Daniel had back-to-back in 7 and 8, and then Brady Cook back-to-back double-digit win seasons in 23 and 24. So the quarterback was right, the way that he played, the plays that he made, the throw he made against Florida on 4th down to steal that victory. Like, he found ways to come through. And they had phenomenal years, and then didn't get the quarterback right, or the quarterback injury to Bo Prabula cost them. And now Austin Simmons, that has a couple of years of eligibility, so it's not a 1-year rental player, although Bo Prabula had a couple of years too, but it just didn't work out in that way. So hopefully Austin Simmons is a guy that plays for a couple of years, or Zoller's, maybe a year of games that he had some experience and knowing what to work on. He's a good backup and ready to go. But ultimately, it's going to come down to Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts. That's the thing about Eli Drinkwitz. Like Gary Pinkel said, and he absolutely proved it in his career, and he was right about it when he said, "We will always have a quarterback here," and he did. From Brad. I mean, it was like the changing of the guard from Brad Smith to Chase Daniel. Brad Smith last year, Chase Daniel's first year. From Chase Daniel to then Blaine Gabbert to James Franklin to Matty Mock and on. And then they didn't for a couple of years, and then it went to Barry Odom. But he had that quarterback always, and that's the surprising thing about Eli Drinkwitz in a league like the SEC, where it feels like the line of scrimmage is the difference maker in winning a national championship or not, to have just freak athletes that you see at Alabama or Georgia or LSU or wherever that control the line of scrimmage. And yet Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou has designed an incredible run game and record-breaking running backs multiple times with Eli Drinkwitz at Mizzou. Yet And when he had the quarterback, what'd they do? They won 21 games in 2 years because the running game has been that good. The defense has had some players. So if they have the quarterback this year, and Hardy is healthy, and Roberts is good, and you've got the receivers and some guys on defense step up, then they have a chance to win 8 or 9 games. Like, you can see a path. I am not going to predict this, I promise you. But I can create a path to 9 wins or maybe crazy 10 wins. That's Austin Simmons being phenomenal, Ahmad Hardy being Ahmad Hardy, the offensive line continuing, and guys on defense stepping up and growing into a position that they finally have an opportunity and they take over for guys that, went on to the NFL. That's what's going to, and some big plays late that you win a one-score game here or there. Like you didn't do against, what
was the team last year that
yes,
came down to the wire? It was at home.
Alabama. Yeah, you had a 4th down, and you get a quarterback that ends up going in the first round that makes a phenomenal throw on 4th down.
He made multiple throws.
Yes, he was stupid in that game. It was ridiculous. It was so dumb in that game, and then it all went downhill for him after that. It's like, hey, Ty Simpson, Heisman Trophy candidate, unbelievable game against Mizzou, and he just continues it, and then it was like, oh, what happened after that? Well, yeah, he didn't turn out to be, well, he ended up being the top 15 pick, but still, to the Rams. But yeah, like that's...
He didn't play as well after that, just since that game.
Right. But you would need that to be reversed, some plays like that. The way that, again, Brady Cook made that 4th down throw against Florida a couple of years ago. That took a loss and flipped that into a win. It was like 4th and 20-something. And he made the throw down the middle of the field, caught, and all of a sudden it's a first down, and they go and score, and they win the game. Like, okay, that was a lot. Like, you lost that game, and then you won. That's a flip right there. Instead of 10 wins, now you got 9. Well, that's a little different when you look back at the history of Mizzou and Eli Drinkwitz, 11-2 and then 9-4. Doesn't sound as good as 11-2 and 10-3. So you would need some of those to happen as well if you're creating the path to get there. I'm not going to predict that path. They're over under a 6.5. And again, 7 would be you take care of your non-conference, you're 3-0. You win your games against number 14, 15, and 16 predicted order of finish in the SEC media poll that came out, which is Kentucky, Mississippi State, and Arkansas, respectively. You win those games, gives you 6. And then either you knock off one of the big dogs of Georgia, Texas, Ole Miss, A&M, or you split with Florida and Oklahoma. That gives you 7.
I think that's the big difference between the SEC preseason rankings and the Big 12. The Big 12, you could have a team that is picked to finish last and they end up winning the conference. But in the SEC, it's like
Mississippi State, Arkansas ain't winning the conference.
Yeah, you know that those rankings are going to be more true in the end to what the actual teams are in the conference.
You'll probably have you might have a surprise here or there. You might have a disappointment, here or there.
But even like if Georgia disappoints and they lose.
Yeah. Georgia disappoints at 10-2. Yeah. Georgia's disappointing at 10-2 or 9-3. That's a good point. The Georgia disappointment is a little bit different than this team disappointing and going 8-4.
Yeah, there's a huge difference. So if you take care of the teams that you should beat, I mean, it's the same conversation with the Chiefs. If the Chiefs beat the teams that they should beat, they'll be in a good spot when they play the teams that might be more of a dice roll. Yep,
absolutely. The teams where you've got to make the plays late, the winning plays, some things fall in your favor. It happens. It's football. Some things, you need some luck. You need some fortune to go in your favor. 2 years ago when the Chiefs went that crazy stretch of winning one-score games, they had a kicker that was the third kicker that season, and he bounced it off the uprights to beat the Chargers. A yard further back, and they lose to the Chargers in that game. It bounces off the uprights and comes right back. Or, ricochets to the left, caroms off the upright to the left instead of bouncing in and going in and winning the game, and everybody just collectively cracking up and laughing. And the Twitter world collectively losing their minds of, they can't keep getting away with this meme from Breaking Bad that we see a lot. So we'll take a timeout, come back, continue rolling. We'll hang out with Mick Schaefer and the Chiefs reporting today. Andy Reid will talk at some point today. We think Patrick Mahomes will talk at some point today, as those media members will be reporting to camp as well. We'll Maybe get some video of some guys showing up and getting ready for training camp, man. No Anthony Sherman, no Dustin Colquitt. Not sure what to expect. We'll take a timeout. We expect Mick Schaefer next. All right, we continue on a Friday, and now we got to the microphones are turned on, and we were having a fun conversation about the Bear. Not the Bears, but the TV show The Bear.
Not Fat Bear Week.
Nope.
Not Cocaine Bear.
No.
The Bear, the restaurant.
Fictional
Bear. Restaurant.
Is it fictional, though?
TV. Yeah, it is. It's 100%.
I know. It's Carmi is not real. I wish he was, though. You know what I mean? Do you watch The Bear, Michael?
I had no idea what that was.
Okay, very good.
I think Cousin.
Oh, I love Cousin.
Is one of the best characters I've ever seen on TV.
Freaking love Cousin. And one of the best episodes.
Jimmy, right?
One of the best episodes of a TV show in a long time was Forks with Cousin. Oh, my God.
Is that the same episode he gets the Taylor Swift tickets? Because
that's a good question.
It's basically, it is him coming of age, maturing, and learning to be. But then the next 2.5, 3 seasons, it's like, okay, he's battle, he's trying to hold back his old self, right? Of just being this loudmouth guy that confronts people, and then on this other side is this professional maitre d'. And I
wear suits now.
I wear suits now. That's what he said.
Okay.
I love the dichotomy of like he's horrible with people, but he's also great with people, right?
Yes.
Like his family, he's just bad with, but complete strangers that walk into the Bear, he's an amazing jokester, wordsmith, just takes care of you. It's great.
I
love Cousin.
Yeah, this season was better than last season. Last season, the problem was feeling itself a little bit.
The problem with 3 and 4, they shot it all together. So 3 came out, and everybody hated it because it kind of fell in love with itself. It was more of an homage to restaurant workers than it was like, hey, let's actually be entertaining here.
Oh, I think about you all the time. I don't ever think about you. Like, oh, it's Carmi and his past, and like, we have this final episode where it's just a table of a bunch of famous chefs.
Yes.
That nobody knows who they are.
Nobody knows who they are.
Or cares.
And one's Joel McHale.
That's the random one that he hates, and it's like he's not even a real one.
And then they're like, oh crap, we shot season 4 this exact same way.
Yeah.
I thought season 2 of The Bear was one of the best seasons of TV I've ever seen. And then 5 starts really slow. I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna make this they're just gonna be this whole season's gonna be one day, isn't it? It's gonna be one day. And
it's damn near close.
It was till the last episode.
Yeah, right.
But then it picks up kind of the 4th episode, and the second to last episode was just amazing. And so
if you've never seen The Bear, Michael, I'll give you
we just told you.
I'll give you a quick scene with Carmi. And I've tried and I'm doing everything I can and I get in my way. I get in my way, Sid. I try to get out of my way. I'm doing everything I can and then I can't do it. I can't get out of the way. I just need to step back and just get away from it all, because that I love what I do, but I just can't stop. Just get away and be myself. I try and I try. There you go.
You never really know what's wrong with him, right? Like
I did it. I nailed it. That's a scene.
You did. Well, okay.
Here's go like that.
Michael, here's a scene between Carmi and Cousin.
Yeah.
Who aren't really cousins.
Right.
Ready? Cousin.
Cousin.
No, cousin.
Get away from me, Carmi.
Cousin.
Get away from me, Carmi.
Cousin.
Get away from me. Oh,
cousin.
really?
Cousin.
Oh, yeah.
Cousin.
Oh, really? You
cousin.
suck, Carmi. Oh, you suck, Carmi? Yeah, I know you suck. Let's move on. Cousin. Cause I want to be there and I can't get out of my head, and that's Carmi.
Yeah.
Did I just nail that, by the way?
Yeah.
I mean, it's every dramatic scene, and it got a little much.
Yes.
The season finale of 4 with he and Sid.
Yeah.
In the back alley area.
Yeah.
The whole thing, and then Sid was like, and you come around here and it's you're the one. I'm like, good God, they're just building off each other, because it's one cut. If you watch it again, the camera stays on them, and I'm like, oh my God, it's like 7 minutes later and they're still doing the I've done it. And I love Jeremy Allen White, by the way. I think he's a phenomenal actor. It's just that scene.
I just can't imagine knowing people that are that dramatic 24/7.
Constantly.
Every 15 minutes, they got to reassess everything their lives been about.
Luckily, there's nobody here right now that does that specifically, currently.
I mean, you're pretty good at that.
What? What are you talking about?
And then any time, Michael, from here on out, that Jason asks you to do something, you say, yes, chef.
Yes, chef. Hands.
Yes, chef.
Hands.
Need an
behind.
intern to come and grab a piece of paper to give to Michael. Hands!
Michael, go to break earlier.
Corner.
Herd chef.
Herd chef. And then
Copy, chef.
And then if we yell at each other, I'll just rub my hand over my heart. I don't have to say it. That's just me saying my bad. I love you. My bad.
Is that what
I
that
don't have to
means?
say it. I'm just rubbing my hand over my heart.
You
My
said
bad.
Chest pain.
Nope. That's not what it is.
Are you dying, chef?
Yes, Herd. Yes, chef. I'm glad we could continue our conversation from off the air
yes.
to on the air.
Yes.
Nailed it. So what do you think of season 6?
That's not going to be one.
Oh.
They're done with the bear, and that's enough. They've done enough.
Well, now they've got the cousin and Mikey TV show that's
Are they
out.
doing a spinoff?
Yeah, they did a
Prequel?
spinoff. So you know how the final couple of episodes, Mikey's having his flashbacks of that trip he took, or I mean, a cousin
is, yeah.
Yeah, they've now created a series of that trip that they took together.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So it's more John Barenthal, which I'm totally fine with.
Yeah.
I'm a Barenthal, but whatever. I'm a huge fan of his, and I like Cousin from that, so I'll check it out. I think the first 3 episodes are out now. I haven't, you know me, I wait till the whole season's out, then I watch it.
You do.
Then I check it out and watch it, which is why I like The Bear, because it's all released one day.
Then you can watch all of The Hawk at once. It's all out.
Did you watch it?
I loved it.
Did you love it?
I'm gonna be.
I've heard
I'm gonna
nothing-
be the minority. Here.
I've heard nothing but bad things. I haven't
Who are
watched
you
it. So
listening to? The critics are killing it. Last I checked, Rotten Tomatoes is 28. So if
critics
you want to
are.
bring it up, I'm going to nail it. If you want to do it,
are killing it.
but that's fine.
Yeah.
Listen, it is his same character as Talladega Nights and Anchorman, right? It's the same guy. He just has blonde hair and is golfing. This dumb, over the top, cocky guy that doesn't understand things but finds success, right? And so, but even if you're tired of Will Ferrell, there are so many other great. Molly Shannon kills it. The caddy, who I'd never seen before, she's a stand-up comedian. She's amazing.
Okay.
You'll fall in love with the caddy.
All right.
And then there's plenty of other characters that, and it's so quick. Each episode's 30 minutes, and the story, because it'll remind you a lot of Stick. If you saw Stick,
Yeah, see, that's what I was wondering.
it'll
Is it
remind you a
just
lot of Abby Gilmore.
So like a lesser cool
But
Stick.
Stick was so well. Stick
Had its moments.
had its moments. Stick was trying. I mean, it wasn't a comedy 24/7. This is a comedy every second of it, right? They're not looking for heart or whatever.
Yeah, Stick was trying to be a drama kingpin.
Yes, and everything
Kingpin,
moves
he was
slow.
awesome, and then he finds somebody that
Yes.
he can bring along, and this guy's special.
And you kind of see where Stick was going, but it was so slow. This, like, first episode, you're like, I see the story arc here, and by the 10th episode, they got there.
All right,
I'm
I'm in.
To where, like, if we don't have another season, that's fine. We wrap this whole the
I'm
thing.
in. Because you and I have the same sensibilities when it comes to TV shows and comedy. So if you like it, I'm in.
Yeah. Okay.
That's all I need to know.
Give it a shot.
And if I hate it, I'll punch you.
Okay.
So but we know that going into it though.
We know that
beforehand.
We had family in town. My son and I had watched it last weekend, and then with family in town, I got home last night about 10 o'clock, and it's my wife's cousin and her husband and my
Cousin?
wife.
Do you say cousin?
Cousin. And they're sitting up there with they're just watching. They got wine and Coors Lights, and they're on episode 7 of it. They've been watching it all night, and I'm like, I thought I was the only one that liked this show. They're like, no, we love it. I'm like,
Awesome.
okay, good.
Yeah, because I think the Rotten Tomatoes would be like the critics are like 10%, but the fans I think might be up at like 70% or something. I don't know.
It was
I'd have to
it
look
was
at
28 and 60s. Granted, it's
Was it?
changing all the time. Last I saw, so cult classic.
What's it called? Hawk.
The Hawk.
The Hawk. All right. The Hawk. I'm going to see if
You
it's a cult
can
classic or not.
literally watch the whole thing in an afternoon. It's 10 episodes.
Is it?
Watch it in 5 hours.
I like that. I mean, I'm a fan of that one. That's for sure. Yeah, here we go. The Hawk. 26%
Okay. And
64.
Yeah.
Cult classic.
that's about what I have predicted. Maybe 10% higher on both sides, but yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. It does not
It's
have
number 1 on Netflix right now.
Yeah, it doesn't
Not
have
just
the
dropped, but
it doesn't have the AI synopsis of what the critics think. Sometimes they'll do that on Rotten Tomatoes.
I read some Reddit lines of, and then,
Yeah.
but it's everyone's like, just this slapstick, whatever, has no point. Like, yes, that's it. We know going in, at least some of us do, that it's nonstop ridiculousness.
I love like the fans, right? Of like, you should know what you're getting when you go into it. Classic comedy, mind-free watch, solid laughs, loved it. Another one, please make a season 2. Absolutely loved this. Classic Will Ferrell. Another one, Terribles, written by a bunch of 15-year-old boys.
Yes.
Right. What did you think you were getting?
Sophomore humor. Literally sophomores.
What did you think you were getting, man? Of course that's what you're going to get. Are we going to get sports today? I don't know. I have no idea. I like your shirt, though. I like the shirt you're wearing, though.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, in a little Northwest. It's a
good one. It's when you go up to training camp and then you just keep going north to a good football program.
We should maybe be hearing from Mahomes in a couple hours. I
think
it's not raining, and they've really dialed back the whole arrival thing.
Well, once Sherman
over the last
left,
few years,
they're like, what's the point?
Yeah.
No Sherman, no Colquitt. What's the point anymore?
We can find some points. I want to see the rookies and how big their fans are that they bring in, and who's got the gaming system.
Yeah, I want to see the guy that shows up with just the trash bag.
Yes.
Because Mahomes is going to show up with his Louis Vuitton rolling luggage.
I want to see which car Mahomes decides to drive up.
That's true.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to see which one that is. That's true. That's what I want to check out.
Raptor.
What if he shows up in a motorcycle? And Andy's like, nope, that's not happening. No. What if he shows up?
Drive back and get a real car.
What if he shows up in the sidecar of a motorcycle and Rasheed Rice is the one driving it?
Oh my God!
No, Patrick, get out!
Jason, stop!
No!
Stop.
He's got the big old goggles on. That's how I want him to show up. That's
Rasheed's just like, is this thing on?
Rasheed's like, don't worry, I rented this.
Don't worry, it's leased for a day.
I leased it for a day.
It's not even mine. It's all good.
Tops out at 120.
It's actually Rasheed Rice's friend that's driving it.
Well, hey, we got here faster than my 3 other friends. They're way behind us.
Rasheed parks, and then Patrick Mahomes gets out, and then Rasheed leaves and just runs away. It's like, where did he go? I'm not sure, but Mahomes is here. All right, let's get video of that. God, that would be great if he showed up in like the sidecar. I don't need Rasheed Rice to be driving it. But I'm just saying,
you're the one that worries about everything. You don't know. I'm not saying like, wait. He's walking downstairs. I don't think that should. He should not be allowed to do that. I'm sorry.
Could somebody get him an electric chair
like they had in old houses
in Gremlins? When she went out the window. I don't want that to happen to him. But can somebody get him one that moves slower than that, please? That would be great. No, he doesn't have to ride the entire way up in the sidecar, but just like when you get there and nobody can see you, then you jump in the side. Like Sherman didn't take the NASCAR all the way to St. Joe, but at some point they switched. Okay. I think so. I think he switched. Some point he got
chopper the whole way there, right?
The chopper.
Yeah.
Come on, do it. So yeah, that's people showing up. What car? Who's riding in the sidecar? I also want to see like 10 UDFAs get out of like Honda Civic. they're all like
saving our money.
Carpooled, guys. We're able to just carpool here. We leased it for the day.
They're walking up, looking up at the dorms, like, damn, this is nice, fellas.
This, man.
It's sweet.
It's pretty cool, dude. Yeah, one guy's got like 7 luggages you bring, and the other guy's got like a shoebox, and that's it.
Meanwhile, A-lister Travis Kelce's walking up, just shaking his head, like, why am I still doing this?
Walking up with the latest cool trend in fashion, even showing up on Tuesday. Well, maybe he'll get there early. I don't know. But showing up and reporting with, I don't know, bell bottoms on and like a Canadian tuxedo with also the
what's the Zoolander? The guy who
jacket.
Jacket wore all trash. That's the latest thing.
I invented the BNOK necktie.
I wore this to the Met Gala.
That's what today's about.
Trending.
But that's what today's about.
Yeah.
That's what today's about. We'll hear from Andy Reid and probably Patrick Mahomes at some point. Let's take a break. We'll come back, regroup. More Zone next. Hanging out on a Friday edition of The Zone, heading up until 2 o'clock. We've got some cuts before the show is over. Tonight at 6 o'clock, TBT, KU State right here on Sports Radio 810
Did
WHP.
you watch the one the other night?
Have not seen a play of any of the TBT.
So, a little different this year. Got the,
Yes.
the $2 million you're playing for, and
Yeah.
it's a best of 3 first round.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand, like, there's 14 teams in this. There's only 8 alumni teams, and 3 are from Kansas. Like,
Wichita State, KU State.
yeah. They got Louisville and Kentucky.
Yeah.
You have Seton Hall and Syracuse. And for whatever reason, the one left over, I guess. New Mexico is Wichita
yes.
State's rival. The Elam ending, I'm coming around on.
I do like it.
But it was good and bad the other night in that, like, so K-State was up 8. So they add 8. It's 75-67. Target scores 83. KU comes back and they win it. But both teams were stuck at 80 for, I swear, 6 to 8 possessions because everybody's trying for this hero ball three.
Yeah.
I mean, guy in your face, hand up there, and
Step
then
back.
And then finally,
Rain Man. Make it
finally
rain.
Frank Mason, probably the smartest guy on the course, like, okay, screw this. I'm going to go to the rim and get a layup, make it 82-80.
Yeah.
They D up one more time, and then Mason gets the rim again. And so,
Shocker, the guy that says, why don't I just figure out a way to end the game instead of chucking up threes the whole time?
yeah, I think everybody on each team got
Yeah.
a shot trying to.
That is
try
the
to win
thing about
game.
the Elam ending.
Rain time, game time, rain time,
Rain Man. Make it rain.
make it rain.
They are all
Purple Rain.
Philip Seymour Hoffman every time.
Yes.
But that's what I do like about the Elam ending is that you aren't fouling guys at the end. There is you know exactly what you're playing
It is
for.
penal
Yeah.
to foul guys. If you do a regular non-shooting foul, you get one free throw by yourself, and then you get the ball back.
I like
so,
that, yeah.
if KU gets fouled,
Mm-hmm.
Frank Mason goes to the line, hits or misses the free throw, KU gets the ball back.
Still gets the ball.
Yeah.
No bonus, no double bonus or anything. You know?
Well, so on a shooting foul, it's regular. It's
Yeah.
2 shots.
Yeah, that makes sense. But a common foul is just going to be one shot and the ball. You get that one back.
Very penal.
Yeah, it is. That's what they say.
So
That's what
I
they talk about
think,
TBT
I
being
think
penal.
like, I'm not like, let's revolutionize the game and have it like, but like the Players Tournament or Maui or something like that,
That'd be fun.
throw it in
Yeah.
for a tourney.
Oh, Elam ending in soccer. 0-0. +8.
It would
First one to get to
never
Eagles.
end. This game started in 2018.
Spain and Argentina are still playing. 7th day of extra time they're going to add.
What would the equivalent of adding 8 points? It'd be like whoever gets a corner kick first. That's it.
Can you
You have to score a goal.
convert a set piece, and we're good. A shot on goal outside of the box wins.
Wins. That's
it. You don't even have to put it in the back of the net. It's just 0-0, and then the parentheses SOGOOB
Shots on goal
outside
of box.
Yeah. Just as they do like the 0-0 parentheses PK.
So goob. We won 1-0 in Sogoob.
So goobs.
1-1 Sogoob.
That's right. All right, we'll take a timeout. We'll come back. We'll talk some sports. We're going to do some renderings. Lane Kiffin's rambling was interesting. We'll talk about that too.
stuff.
All right, hanging on a Friday edition of The Zone. The Heat will be back tomorrow.
Miami?
Nope.
Oh, you are a 76ers fan now, aren't you?
Damn right.
Congratulations.
Yeah,
wait.
Sterling and
you
I.
and Sterling.
We go way back.
You know he lived there.
All the way back. Yeah, that's what I heard. I'd have to think back to our conversations. Did he work with the 76ers for a while? Like, I'm trying to remember.
The 76ers worked for him.
Yeah, that's no, they didn't work for anybody at that
He hasn't
point.
told me today yet about it, so.
We had him on in the 10 o'clock hour. He was our Philadelphia correspondent, live from Indiana.
Live from Indiana.
At his family reunion. So yeah, we talked about that with Sterling. His initial immediate reaction to LeBron being a Sixer, and LeBron at the end of the season, he put out the tweet that said he was done. He really thought last year his final game, and then he got away from it. And now there's like, the over under of how quickly Bronny's traded to the 76ers. Yeah. Is it like in a week?
Give it by Sunday.
2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4, 5 weeks, 5 days, 5 hours. When is it that he'll be traded? So yes, LeBron is a 76er, and they called it a 2-year deal, but it's 1 year and then like a player option. Yeah. So it's LeBron's doing 1-year deals because he said he thought he was done this year. So why would he sign in a 2-year deal with Philadelphia? So we'll see what it looks like. The one thing that we came to what will be the issue, like people are like, oh, there's only one ball on the court. Like, yeah, that's fine. But there can only be one smartest guy in the room. And Jaylen Brown and LeBron both think they're the smartest guy in the room in every room they go into. So when they're in the same room,
how about Jaylen Brown?
There can only be one smartest guy in the room. So who's it going to be? That to me is where you start the fracturing.
Embiid.
Clearly. No, Embiid's the smartest guy in the training room. Because he's
that room.
He's in that room. It depends on what room you're in. But Jaylen Brown and LeBron going back and forth to see who's the smartest one in the room. I don't know. I don't know who is the smartest one in the room. We'll find out. I love Jaylen Brown's comments, though, when somebody said the smartest guy in the room, and he was like, well, you're also talking about, GMs, and he brought up like different trades like that, do this and this. So, I mean, is it really a bad thing if you're the smartest guy in the room? But, yeah, so we'll see. One ball on the court, though.
Didn't
only one
Jaylen
basketball.
Brown escape Boston to get out of Jason Tatum's shadow, and now he's in the biggest shadow of all time?
That's right. It's like Jaylen Brown is now the guy that will lead this son of a...
Jaylen Brown, you're really good at playing second fiddle, so... Hey, get in the back seat.
You got a second fiddle. You're going to go along with that.
Ride in the sidecar.
It's going to last.
That's right. SEC Media Day put out their media poll. We talked a little bit about that earlier.
Are they done with those yet? It's been 4 days.
I didn't mean SEC Media Day. I meant SEC Media Week. Said SEC kickoff.
4 teams per day. I like that Mizzou was right off the bat.
Yep. Get in, get out. Just means more for those. But you also then have to wait for the later ones like Lane Kiffin, so people stay around. They do that all the time. When Alabama was winning every year, they would make Alabama last. So people would stay Alabama and Auburn. So they would always do that. Lane Kiffin. Let's play this clip if we can, Michael. This is clip number 8. Lane Kiffin was asked about, him being a villain, and he's like, well, am I? I don't know. The great part about that is I don't read anything. So if you say that, then that's you. But then started rambling about coming to the realization of what's really important in life and not having to worry about those things. And so this is as he gets into his rambling of eventually having an epiphany of really focusing on the real important things.
I was actually talking to Ross Dellinger, and I kind of said something that might sound kind of funny to you, but I watched the Hulk Hogan special, and I realized, and I was like, we're all going to die. And so some of the things that we put importance on, we worry about, and what this person says and that, like, really aren't going to matter. And when I lost my dad, I started thinking that, and I really started thinking, when I grew up, there were 2 people that I thought just wouldn't die. My dad and Hulk Hogan. And then I watched that special and realized, like, Hulk Hogan died too. Like, there's no way Hulk Hogan was ever going to not wrestle and die. And he did. And so it just made me reflect really on, like, I can't be so concerned about little things and what people say and this. And you got to make decisions. You got to go with them. And you do things and you make really good decisions and you make poor decisions.
At no point in your rambling did you make anywhere near a coherent point. In fact, we are all now dumber having heard you talk. You received no points for your answer, and may God have mercy on your soul.
I think we all watched the Hulk Hogan doc and came to some sort of epiphany like,
oh my God,
everybody's going to die. I watched it, and I was like, you know what? The golden rule. I believe in that. Treat others like you want to be treated.
Right. Yes. Well, people can take different things from, it's
I
open to
remember
interpretation.
episode
like
2 of that. Afterward, I was like, you know what? After watching the Hulk Hogan doc, I'm going to treat my kids good.
That's exactly what I thought, too. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stop being really mean to everybody in my life. And I'm going to start treating people the way that I want to be treated. Because apparently everybody's going to die.
I didn't realize I needed to start going back to church until I watched episode 4 of the Hulk Hogan doc.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. At no point in your rambling, incoherent response were you even close to anything that could be considered a rational thought. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul. That's what I hear when he says, well, people are going to think this is odd, but I was watching the Hulk Hogan doc, and I realized everybody's going to die because my dad and Hulk Hogan would never die. And now they both died.
If you don't like something, change it.
Yep.
If you can't change it, change your attitude. Maya Angelou, no, that was in the Hulk Hogan doc.
I've always thought it was Maya Angelou. I didn't know it was Hulk. And that's right, brother.
I didn't realize what it meant.
If you don't like something, change it, brother.
Hulk Hogan doc.
Too sweet. So Lane Kiffin is up there being Lane Kiffin. And he would do some things differently, he said. That, if he could go back. Not that he would stay at Ole Miss. He would just not try to continue coaching Ole Miss in the playoffs once they said you can't coach. He would just simply move on to LSU.
How hard can football be when that guy that said those things is at the top of the coaching game?
He's the one leading men with his
I was a real horse's ass.
This $40 million roster.
Makes all the money in the world.
Picked to finish 5th. We'll see. I mean, they might finish first. I mean, they're picked to finish 5th. Who knows what's going to happen there? I talked about it at the beginning of the show. Let's play this clip from Jeff Passan because the Royals lose to the Tigers yesterday, and I'm perfectly fine with that. In fact, if they want to lose to the Tigers the next 3 games, let's do it.
I say if they want to lose the Tigers, they need to do it by 1 run, and they have lived up to that like literally every game this year.
Why just 1 run?
Because that's how they lose.
Okay.
They're 0-7 in Detroit this year, I believe, and all by 1 run.
Nice. Well, they probably won't score 1 run tonight against Jake Gutierrez, who's on the mound.
0-7, maybe 0-4 there.
But
yeah,
I'm rooting for Detroit to win these games. Here's Jeff Passan.
No,
I am.
Stop it.
Here's Jeff Passan. I was rooting for the Chiefs to play well, but then lose in those last 3 weeks. But here's Jeff Passan, and he weighs in on Tariq Skubal and how the front office for the Detroit Tigers are approaching these last week, 10 days before August 3rd's trade deadline.
They're monitoring box scores as much as anything because they know that Tarek Skubal's availability boils down to one thing, and that's, are the Detroit Tigers still in the playoff race? And as of now, they are. As of now, they're going to ride with Skubal and Troy Melton and Casey Mize, another guy who's impending free agent, and try and get back into the playoff hunt. They've made some progress, but Boston winning 15 consecutive games and getting that final wild card spot, that's the sort of thing Detroit, frankly, needed to do to ensure Tarek Skubal was going to stick around. This is going to come down to the end of the month. By July 31st, I think the Tigers are going to look at the standings, going to look at how they're playing, going to look at everything about where they are and make a determination at that point. And that's either when the frenzy could happen or when this deadline could change, at least in terms of activity, for the worse.
I want the Tigers to win because I want Detroit to be foolish enough to not trade Tariq Skubal. And then he leaves in free agency at the end of the season. the best thing for Detroit would be to get prospects like the Dodgers, sending them a couple top 100 prospects.
So you'll go back cheering for the Royals after this series.
Yes, after the series, I'm perfectly fine. As long as the Royals end up with one of the 3 worst records. I mean, it's all the same percentage with the lottery, whatever. But Detroit, foolishly, being 4 games out of the wild card with 5 teams ahead of them that they would have to pass to get to a wild card spot, to then on August 3rd be like, no, we're like 2 or 3 games out. We're keeping Tariq Skubal. Okay, great. And then he's going to leave in free agency, so you've got nothing for him. Whereas it's a little bit.
You want to get Tariq Skubal?
No,
or you just want
I want
Detroit to take it,
not to replenish. I want Detroit not to get a couple of top 100 players.
Tariq Skubal.
Well, because I don't think
enough money in Kansas City.
Yeah, no, he's going to be a Dodger. Yeah, and so just trade it. They would trade him to the Dodgers. If it was the Royals in that position, I'd be wanting them to move on, because be realistic of where you are, the team you are. Because the White Sox were not in this position. They were not a good team, and Crochet had an extra year of team control. But they got Kyle Teal, Chase Mydroth, and Braden Montgomery for Garrett Crochet. 3 guys that are playing every day. Well, Teal with the ankle injury now. 3 guys that are everyday players for the White Sox and part of their turnaround by trading Crochet. Tariq Skubal, maybe it helps the Tigers make the playoffs. Maybe they win a wild card series. I don't know. Is that worth it? Versus you've got some players there that you're building around, and then maybe you get a couple of top 100 prospects from the Dodgers or something, and then you add those guys to the mix, whereas Skubal is going to be somewhere else at the end of the season anyway. I just think it's a missed opportunity for the Tigers if they don't replenish.
You could probably get 6 everyday players for Bobby.
Well, yeah, that's different, though. Bobby's not leaving at the end of the season via free agency. Tariq Skubal is. Now, if we
never to leave.
But if we get to the point to where Bobby's going to opt out, and it's like, yeah, you're not going to be able to afford him, yeah, then I think you have to go down that road. You have to examine, are you going to, because Tariq Skubal, they already paid Framber Valdez. They're going to try to keep Casey Mize. So they've got, they paid Framber Valdez because they didn't think they were going to be able to afford Tariq Skubal. So I want Detroit to win. And Skubal's on the mound tonight, so he doesn't have to be amazing,
If you had said, okay, Royals could get him, I would have cheered for Detroit the rest of the
they could trade for him?
Yes. that
they would go and sign him in the offseason?
Yep. So
yeah, I don't think they're in the market.
I'm back cheering for the Royals.
I don't think they're in the market. It's better for the Royals if Detroit doesn't get a couple of really good players, because the White Sox would not be in the position they are if they had kept Crochet.
He's a humble guy. He's went to a tiny school. Maybe he doesn't want the spotlight of the LA Dodgers.
Point. Maybe he doesn't.
Wants to stay in the AL Central that he knows very, very well.
Does he want the extra 70 or 80 million though? Sometimes you don't care.
At some point though,
200, 270, it's kind of all the same once you get to that.
You would think so.
Yeah. I mean, I would take 200 if I was offered only 200 million. I wouldn't hold out for 270 on the off chance I could get it. I would settle right now for 200 million.
Right there.
Yeah.
Yes.
I would take that. Just like that lady with in Michigan that's suing BetMGM to try to get her $3 million that she won on online gambling at BetMGM, but they said there was a software glitch, and so they're not going to pay her.
What'd she win it on?
It was a St. Patrick's Day luck of the roulette game that they brought out for St. Patrick's Day that she had never played before, so she decided to go and put some money in there, like $50, and then she bet on it, and it didn't win. Then she bet a couple of more, and then she won, and bet a couple of more, and it kept winning. So then she started betting even more, and it kept winning. So the $50 turned into $3.3 million. And she went to get a withdrawal, and they said, the most we can give you right now is $100,000. So they paid her out $100,000 and then canceled her account.
No way.
Yeah. And they said, well, no, it was a software glitch.
Oh.
There was way too much paying out. So she took him to court. It got dismissed. She took him to appeals court, got dismissed. Then she took him to the Supreme Court in Michigan, and the Supreme Court said, no, she can sue him. She can look for that money. So now it's going to go back to court. Doesn't have a court date yet.
What's $3 million to those guys?
Right.
Pay it.
Yes.
And avoid the bad PR.
But it's like, nope, sorry, there was a glitch. There was a glitch. We shouldn't have paid you that much. Well, that's not my fault
Not my
it's
fault.
a glitch.
That's on your end.
Yeah, not my chair, not my problem,
Not my pig, not my farm.
That's exactly right. I'm betting. It was my money that I was betting.
Yes.
It was your algorithm that was paying out more, but I was using my money.
Do you ever have glitches that go the other way?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Do you ever? Because I've lost.
That's a good point.
I've lost 10 in a row. Was that a glitch?
It's a great point.
And if
Will you
that
give
does
me my
happen,
money
are
back?
you going to investigate when we lose a lot in the row?
That's a great point. If you can have a glitch that pays out too much, can you have a glitch that doesn't pay out enough?
Oh, I'd make that argument.
And if you're not a professional gambler, you just didn't notice? Like, oh, we shorted him $3 or $4, but he didn't notice. Not a big deal, you know. And if you just short $3 or $4, you know, on big winnings this guy won $1,200. Awesome. Well, he should have won $1,230. Well, we'll keep the $30. Not a big deal. You know, we don't have to really, you know, he's so excited about the $1,200 he just won. He's going around calling people and I just hit this huge, well, it's kind of a glitch. Never know.
And how pervasive was the glitch? Did it happen to other people?
It's a good point.
Where it paid them out or didn't pay them out? I need to hear more about this glitch.
Although, kind of selfish of her not to tell other people. I'm playing this game and I keep winning and winning and winning. This is amazing.
But I mean, was it over a period of time or over 5 minutes?
No, it was like, I think it was like 3 weeks or something like that she kept playing it, kept betting more.
I'll keep it to myself too. I'm on her side completely.
You know, like the GameStop.
Well,
I don't think I need to tell you about this GameStop thing because I don't want this thing getting out. I'm making, I'm making a lot of money.
I mean, I guess probably at some point she realized, okay, something's going on here that doesn't normally go on. I'm
ready to cash
incredibly lucky.
I'm at $3.3 million. I'm ready to cash out. But if you get to that point, why stop?
Yeah.
Unless they stopped the game and was like, well, yeah, the luck of the roulette was only for St. Patrick's Day, and we're done with it now. Oh, darn it. Guess I'll put this all on, the 76ers to win. Pistons to win a playoff game. I'll do that. But yeah, so she sued in the Supreme Court.
Nice.
But all they said is, yeah, you're allowed for this to go to court. Not that you've won.
Not that you've won.
Because then the state will go, no, we rule in favor of them. We don't need them giving out $3 million because, we kind of collect the income here. It's part of them being a part of it.
Lawsuit, MGM might make most sense monetarily. Just like, let's just settle.
Right.
Just offer 1.5 or something like that.
Our bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe settle out of court for $1.5 million, which I would do right now. It's not my 3.3, but if I've gone to multiple courts and they have thrown it out, and I had to go to the Supreme Court, and all the Supreme Court said is, no, it can stay. You are allowed to sue them. It shouldn't be dismissed. Doesn't mean you're going to win. I'd settle. Right now, $1.5 million. Let's do it. Write a check. I'm good. Yep. So I'm totally fine with that. Michael, you'd take $1.5 million right now, right?
I'd sell out of court.
Yep, that's right.
Do it right now.
Michael, who are you cheering for tonight? The Tigers or the Royals?
I don't care anymore.
Come on.
You got to have an opinion.
It's part of being a fan. You can't just always cheer for losses, hoping for better draft picks or whatever.
I want the Royals to win.
I
want the Royals to win because realistically what's going to happen is the Tigers will either hold on to them or they won't, and they'll suck regardless. So,
yes.
Right, but they can suck maybe a little bit longer if they don't trade Scooball and they don't have a couple of...
This division around the Royals has sucked forever, and it most of the time doesn't matter.
I know.
It doesn't matter. Like he said, it's not going to matter.
We'll see. We'll see. What if they trade Scooball?
They play less games now against the City.
I'll tell you what
if they trade Scooball and they get a stud, and in 2 years it's like, that guy is unstoppable. Like, well, remember that whole Scooball thing? You guys said I was stupid. I'm waiting 2 years to take my victory lap.
God.
For all of these things to actually happen in that way.
Yes, you're right. The Tigers are second in the division because of this guy.
That
the
Plinko
Royals
chip that has to go
on pace to win 55 again.
All the correct turns and the things of the Plinko chip, all the way down to that one going, see, I told you. I told you that was a possibility of happening.
I do wonder what the Scooball trade would then do for a potential Michael Wacha trade following it. Because Michael Wacha,
Detroit?
Well, no. But I wonder if that market would maybe be.
That's a good point. If they
market.
don't trade Scooball, then does that increase the price for Wacha? That's a good point. That's twofold now. They don't trade Scooball, so they don't get anything back for him, and he walks, and then Michael Wacha becomes more valuable.
And the Royals keep losing.
If you remember this, I'm going to remember tonight.
Last game of the season, you can't hold anything back. You know what, though?
My family and I, we had a great time watching the Royals win in extra innings that night on a Friday in July in 2026.
July 24th, that Friday night. It was such a great night. We really enjoyed it as they lose to the Tigers.
Carter Jensen came through with an RBI double, and the bullpen for once didn't give up a run.
As they get eliminated on the last day of the season by Detroit. Pitching that game, the guy they got when they traded Tariq Scooball. Thanks a lot.
Again, sign me up for that right now.
It never comes
down
Sign
me
to
up for the Royals getting eliminated on the last day of the season. That would be awesome.
You're like John Sherman. I want to see what a wild card team looks like.
Yeah.
Talking about a championship team, show me what a wild card team looks like. Gotcha. 2024. We showed you. Now let's get that championship team. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Renderings. Chiefs. Arrowhead with a roof. We'll talk a little bit about that next. Friday edition of The Zone. Program coming up next at 2 o'clock. We'll hear from Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes at some point today, probably around 3 o'clock, when availability will be for Andy Reid, and we think Patrick Mahomes reporting today. We'll see if Rashee Rice reports today or not. We'll all find out together.
He's an injured veteran.
Better report. That would go a long way to show that you're serious, but
I would bet that he doesn't.
I would too.
He should, but a lot of things he should do, he doesn't.
He should follow the rules of his probation. So you would think
he shouldn't rent a motorcycle with a sidecar in Jason's fantasy.
Yes.
But he did.
Yep. 913-912-4810. Also the Twitter. Here's John Holohan that doesn't have a pair of ears that could use them. Says, you guys sound like dip drip. Zero self-awareness. You're making fun of the bear. But have you ever listened to yourselves? Were we making fun of the bear?
We both
talked about the two.
Yeah.
The first, we watched all 5 seasons.
Yeah.
The first 2 seasons are 2 of the best seasons of TV out there. 3 and 4, kind of too much into itself. Season 5 saved it, and a good way to end.
Maybe he's an actor on the bear. His showrunner or something like that.
Yeah, he must be, or somebody that doesn't have an idea of how to listen. Maybe that's what it is.
Probably.
Maybe his nickname's the bear. Maybe he's a chef. He works at the beef. That's what it is. We got beef, man. The renderings are out for Arrowhead Stadium. I don't think it'll look near what the renderings are. So I'm not sure what to make of it, like any hot takes or anything. What I've seen is it looks like Arrowhead with a roof. I'm hoping that the roof doesn't look like that from the outside, because I can't get it looks like a Pringles chip on top.
It does, yeah.
And I'll never get over that. I'll never not
we would
see
have the
Arrowhead
Pringles,
with a Pringles chip
here and the Roombas in Vegas.
Yeah.
Does SoFi look like anything?
I don't know.
Yeah, they called it like scalloped, right? That's what they call. I think they called what is now at Arrowhead. They call it a scalloped roof, where it's
okay.
Like,
yeah. So a scalloped Pringles chip.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like it to be rolling roof. That's my main takeaway. Can you roll the roof? No. Too expensive? Okay. So it's going to be controlled environment and translucent. Maybe you can grow.
Nobody has it.
Real grass in there.
Nobody has a translucent.
I think
roof?
Lucas Oil does, but it's also retractable.
I was just in it last month.
Do the Raiders have that? Do the Raiders have? I can't.
I know.
I did in it, and it was not translucent at the time.
Okay, because I wasn't there for that Super Bowl. I didn't go to Vegas for the Super Bowl.
SoFi just has like the walls are open. It's open on the sides.
Yeah. So
to the concourse.
I'm fine with it. I don't know that there's much to take away other than like, do you have to keep the peaks? Like, it does look a lot like Arrowhead with a roof, which just simply you put a roof on Arrowhead Stadium.
To appease all the fans that are mad about Arrowhead going bye-bye, and they want to keep the nostalgia.
As long as it's as loud as it is, it should.
I don't need it to look like Arrowhead. I don't need it to have the same. I'm not in love with the football-shaped scoreboards that everybody else is in love with. A, they're not the same size. B, why do they have to look like a football? Can't they just be rectangular like everything else?
I would rather
and gigantic.
Yeah, instead of the football-shaped boards, just put one of those big-ass side TVs like you see at SoFi. That makes it more of an experience. You're going to spend all that money to then just put a football-sized board up there, or a football
kind of one in the middle.
Yeah, like how SoFi has that huge one in the middle. That's the oval shape.
They got the kind of the ribbon board that's runs
where
all
you
the
can
way
see
around
it from
the
any
top.
seat. You can look at it. It's not that square that you see when you're sitting in the corner. You're like trying to look right or left to make it out. Like you've got a blank slate on this.
I think that was like $6 billion. That was SoFi.
The video board itself?
No.
Amazing. That is unfreaking real.
They also have the worst luxury boxes ever because they're on the ground.
Yes, dude.
Kind of underneath. And like you're just looking and you're seeing butts.
Right. It's like
we paid $50,000 for this game to see butts.
I saw when they started bringing those out, they started going, look, we're going to have like field level suites. It's like, this is not like baseball. You realize that, right? Yeah. There's so many people that are blocking
guys on the sidelines.
The dugout suites at Kauffman, pretty cool. field level suites in the NFL, not cool unless it's in the end zone.
Unless you move the players to the stands. They sit there like soccer players. Waiting to get subbed in.
It's high school. You're actually under the bleachers, and you're watching it from that way while you're smoking a cigarette in the 1970s. Let's hear from Andrew Hawkins. This is Tyreek Hill came out and said he has no power or strength in his leg. Here is Andrew Hawkins, who was a small fella himself, talking about the issues with Tyreek Hill if it is the fact that it's at this point in late July and he has no power or strength in that leg.
It's hard, man, because look, it's, Tyreek is maybe an inch and a half taller than me. And when I was in the league, the moment my quickness and speed was equal to everybody else, I was cooked. It was a wrap. That was the advantage that I had. Now, look, I don't know if, because again, this is 2026. We're in the age of content. You boys know that better than everyone else. I don't know if he truly has no power, or this is a setup for a documentary and he's a lot further along than what he's insinuating. But I will say this, as somebody his size in the NFL, if he doesn't have his speed and quickness very close to what it was, it will be impossible to see the same Tyreek Hill. There's not another version of a 5'8" receiver that could be successful at that level.
I never thought that Tyreek Hill would have the reunion. Some thought that Garrett Dieter said it was, actual possibility. And you think there was a chance of that happening. But if he's at this point and has no power or strength in that leg, like even November returning, to Andrew Hawkins' point, if Tyreek loses that amazing speed, quickness, shiftiness, he's not the receiver that made him Tyreek Hill.
I had to look up who Andrew Hawkins was. You talked about him like I should know.
How do you not know
Hawk?
Andrew? Yes, the Hawk.
The Hawk.
Drew Hawk.
Talk about him.
Drew Hawk. Come on.
Lonnie
now.
Hawkins, golfer. Will Ferrell. Then I saw he had 200 catches over 9 years. I'm like, that's why. That's why I don't know. And when he said Tyreek's only an inch or so taller than me. Taller. Like, oh, you're a little guy.
Him just a little guy.
So,
he's 5'7".
Of course. He's that was his fastball, was his speed.
Mm-hmm.
And look, quickness, part of it too, shiftiness, all that. But that's going to be taken away by a leg that doesn't work. So, yeah, when all things are equal, better be taller.
Yes.
Speed is equal, better be taller.
You can lack the overall amazing speed if you're 6'4" and 220. And you can Anquan Bolden it for 100 receptions every year. Let's hear from Damian Woody. This was on Get Up. And they were talking about, the Chiefs are reporting today. So there's a Patrick Mahomes conversation that they had on Get Up. And, that's going to be the biggest topic around Chiefs training camp is Patrick Mahomes and his health. And it'll be covered from 15 different angles. But here's Damian Woody talking about this Chiefs team this year, the unknown of Patrick Mahomes, as the Chiefs are reporting today.
I don't know if any Andy Reid team is going to go ground and pound, but this might be the first year in quite some time where they're going to be forced to have an identity on offense because of the lack of explosiveness in the passing game. Just like Shefty talked about, there's a reason why you brought in Kenneth Walker III, and the reason you brought back Eric Bieniemy is because this team needs an identity. Too many times over the past few years, we saw Patrick Mahomes, the team asked Patrick Mahomes to basically throw on his cape and try to will this team to win. And I don't think that's going to be the case for this team moving forward this year. And couple that with all the change on the defensive side of the ball, I look at this Kansas City Chiefs team, quite honestly, as the third best team in the AFC West.
There's a little bit of, and I went back this morning and spent too much time doing this because we're not even going to play them. But going back to 2022 of finding different clips that took place after the Tyreek Hill trade, and some of the same commentary that was going on then with the Chiefs now of Denver Broncos are winning this division. The Chargers are winning this division. Broncos got Russell Wilson. They got Von Miller. The Chiefs' run is over. They've got some issues. The Chiefs are going to have to figure out, was it Travis Kelce? Was it Tyreek Hill? Dan Orlovsky even said one of the dumbest things that I've ever heard, and he said that Von Miller was more important than a quarterback. Which was as dumb as anybody has ever said anything on TV. Almost like
and
Solomon
what year did he
Wilcots.
say this? Was this
2022?
Like, yeah, late in Vaughn's career.
Yeah, play it, actually. Let's do that real quick. Clip number 5. This was just part of I saved like 6 clips. We're not going to play them, but there was Booger McFarland saying that all these different teams are better than them. Bart Scott saying the Chiefs are in trouble. Marcus Spears saying the Chiefs aren't in the top 3. And here's Dan Orlovsky from May 25th talking about why the Broncos, with their newly acquired Russell Wilson and that defensive line, is going to win the West.
The Denver Broncos have a defense that has 2 elite pass rushers. Defensive linemen are the most important position in all of football. Both edge rushers can get after the quarterback. They have 5 guys in the secondary. No secondary is good unless the defensive linemen, who are the most important position in football, play well. They got 5 guys that can cover that are really good in their roles. And then they got an offense that has now added Russell Wilson, diverse in scheme, an offensive line that is going to be better because of him, and a head coach that comes over from being one of the best offensive minds in football, Nathaniel Hackett. They've got a diverse skill position group. The Denver Broncos can play whatever style of game that you need them to play, and they've added a Hall of Fame worthy quarterback, but he's still not as important as a defensive lineman.
So that was from 2022.
That was from 2022. What the Broncos were able to do, and Broncos winning the AFC West. I believe that was a game called "Give Your Best Take" from 1970. I think that's they were playing a game there about defensive end is the most important position on the football team. Apparently, if he said most important position on the defense,
sure.
Maybe that's what he meant. I actually don't. I like Dan Orlovsky. I know Danny hates. I love the Dan Orlovsky. It's not a back and forth. It's one-sided because Orlovsky has yet to respond. He keeps ducking Danny Klinkscale. Ridiculous. Orlovsky's fine. That was just a really absurd thing to say, but it was going along with the narrative of, hey, let's find a different reason as to why this team is going to win the AFC West. And there's a little bit of that going on this year. Or a lot of that going on this year.
But I think for once, the most legit reason exists.
Mm-hmm.
They got 3rd last year.
Yep.
But finally there was a chink in the armor. Finally, they had the off season. Finally, things went wrong, and they were going wrong before Patrick got hurt. And so I'm the closest to believing a lot of that stuff from Damian Woody than I have been in the past.
Yeah. 2022 was an overreaction to trading Tyreek Hill and losing to the Bengals in the AFC Championship game. This is not an overreaction, but I think it is last year all of the variables went against him, so therefore that means those weren't variables, that's just who the Chiefs are moving forward. And while the variables may have gone in the Broncos' favor or the Chargers' favor, that also is going to continue, as opposed to, well, maybe those variables that bounced against the Chiefs, that bounced in their favor in 24, didn't go in their favor in 25. Maybe they just simply even out from the 2 seasons, and they're better than what maybe you thought they were going to be because we're basing off the most recent iteration of the Chiefs.
And I look at it like this: in 24 and 23 when they were winning 17 straight 1-score games, my argument was that is what good teams do. That's what a good coach with a great quarterback does. Teams that have been there before, maybe you don't win 17 in a row, but you win a lot more than you lose. And so I kept the same argument last year in that, like, okay, this team isn't what it was because they're not winning those games. So I see it more of that and less of like, okay, it's this coin flip thing. Fate's determining at the end, and the fate, for a couple of years, was on. She was the Chiefs were that lady in Michigan. Fate was on her side.
Luck,
and then last year they just got a bad deal. So I attribute it to, like, finally we saw a Patrick Mahomes team where he couldn't do everything, where he couldn't make up for every flaw and all the holes on this team. And that kind of scared me. And now you throw in, all right, I think he's going to start the first game, but what's he going to? We're going to see 80% Patrick Mahomes, and will we maybe not see 100% Mahomes until December? Will it be too late? So I have the most questions I have ever had for this team going into a season because they added one guy on offense.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I don't think it'll happen, but I hope Woody's right and that they become more of a ball control offense and they realize, okay, this defense was not great last year, especially getting the quarterback. And they've gotten worse probably with all the secondary losses, and the guys coming in aren't going to be up to speed yet. And so that they're more of a ball control team and run the ball first. And maybe after an off season or two, people don't spend every waking moment planning for Patrick Mahomes, and then he can kind of bounce back and catch people off guard. I'm curious to see how this is all going to play out.
No, I think there are real questions about this season. Injuries derailed it. Josh Simmons went AWOL for 4 weeks, and they've got some issues at wide receiver. Who knows if you can trust Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy's injury history.
You can't.
You can't.
I know.
What are the Chiefs actually going to look like with Kenneth Walker? Are they going to lean into that a little bit more under center? Are they just going to run the same plays with a better running back? And does that make them better at that point? What does Patrick Mahomes look like? There are some real questions where 2022, I think, was trying to look for other things and ways to not talk about the Chiefs being awesome. But that was a team that finished second in the AFC. This team finished third in the AFC West.
May of 22? Before the 22 season.
Before the 22 season, they traded Tyreek Hill, but they had just lost to the Bengals in the AFC Championship
game. They had gone 2 years without winning the Super Bowl.
Yep, lost Super Bowl,
only
lost
won
AFC
one.
Championship. Yep.
And so, that was – I see the reach for people there, the connecting those dots of like, all right, listen, you just lost your best weapon on offense in the passing game.
The Bengals have passed you now.
They've passed you now. That was just –
You should have lost to the Bills in the 13-second
100%.
game. So,
and then they responded, thankfully, with 2 straight Super Bowl wins, 3 straight Super Bowl appearances.
Yeah, so that's all they did after that criticism.
So now we're kind of in that same vein of like,
there's a lot of unknowns.
You lost a Super Bowl, and you didn't make one, and now here we are. The 2-year gap has happened.
3 straight Super Bowls is what Mick Schaefer is calling for. I love it. I like that prediction. 3 straight Super Bowls, winning 2 of them.
I'm not ruling it out.
I'll settle out of court right now if that's what you offer me.
Settle out of court so many times this show.
It's a drinking game.
It is.
Just take a drink if you settle out of court. And by the time 2 o'clock gets here, you're going to be passed out. And don't break the seal before then. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back. Cuts next. All right, wrapping up the week here on Sports Radio 810 WHB in the Zone. Soren Petro coming up next tonight, 6 o'clock right here on Sports Radio 810 is KUK State TBT. Let's go ahead and get the cuts rolling, Michael. Take it away, bud.
That's what made it hard.
Okay.
Tell him I'll use his balls as a speed bag.
I don't know what that was about, but I don't want to be that.
Name a player on the 1970s Steelers. Lebo.
Terry Bradshaw.
Terry Bradshaw, number 1.
Come on, you know some earlier guys.
I know a couple.
All right, let's go then.
Joe Green.
There we go.
Oh, wow.
Joe Green, number 4.
All right. Franco Harris.
Number 2.
I'm thinking of the wide receiver that I'm not gonna get his name. Hold on. Oh my gosh.
Oh, that guy.
That guy.
Him.
Play with a broken leg. He might have been with the Rams.
Come on, Steelers. Yeah, come on, man.
Jerome Bettis' dad.
Strike 1.
Jack Lambert.
Not on the list.
Oh, my gosh.
Strike 2.
All right. They got too many guys.
If I know the position.
No.
Great.
Eat it.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to eat this one. Go ahead and buzz me, Kyle.
Wow.
Take it like a man.
Strike 3.
Lynn Swan, did they say
So he was
Franco
thinking
Harris?
of-
Yeah.
Lynn Swan was the guy.
So he was trying to the broken leg for the Rams, apparently. I like the Jerome Bettis' dad, though. That was nice. It was a good answer.
Yeah, I've got a really good video now.
Of what? Is it ruptured testicles or something else?
No. Now, why would that be a good video?
I don't know. That's what I was curious about.
You just hit me square
in the gonads.
There's a theme to these.
Apparently.
They got to beat him off with a stick.
Okay. That's tough to do.
He didn't rub me. He didn't rub me wrong.
Michael.
Our themes.
80% of the people don't care if you got problems. The other 20% are happy you got them.
Is that Tim?
Grunny's Lou Holtz impression.
Because the Mets, as I told you earlier, in the 14th round, they took Troy pitcher Zach Crotchfeld.
We good on the pronunciation of that?
Like, what else would it be? NL East rivals, the Phillies, they were lucky enough to draft pitcher Drew Titsworth.
Oh.
Yep.
So in the NL East coming up in a year or two, because with college arms, you can have a Zach Crotchfeld versus Drew Titsworth pitching matchup.
Do you know what?
And boy, wouldn't that be exciting?
Teat.
Which do you think's a better pick, Jake?
For me, I'm a Titsworth guy.
Well, Clemson's got a good program.
Roark's been getting his tits lit. Really has.
Drew is pronounced exactly as the common first name, rhyming with blue.
Mm-hmm.
Titsworth is pronounced phonetically as capital, so you emphasize the first syllable. Tits, worth, with the emphasis on the second one.
Got to the bottom of that.
Titsworth? I'll tell you where the feud's going to start. You want to know where it's going to start?
No.
You want to know where it's going to start? Water 1. Water 1. Kiss my ass. Water 1. That's where it's going to start. That's where it'll begin.
Now.
That's where the feud begins. How many computer programmers does it take to outwit one stoned Russian to where we don't need like 7 codes texted to us or Gmailed?
Trying to just pay that bill is sometimes it is an adventure.
I think he's called out every utility company in
Why not?
City.
Well, just outwit one Russian stoner.
Lane and I are friends, and Lane and I talked several times through the process of October, November about what it was looking like for both of our schedules of
right now. A phone is
how
ringing.
things were going to unfold.
Phone ringing.
And you'd be kicked out of our team meeting. I swear. Like, you're lucky I'm not going to throw this freaking podium right now. Like, it drives me crazy. I would say who is that, but I'm not going to embarrass anybody.
Oh,
was that
Summerall?
Yeah. I mean, it's literally right on campus. So the tailgating, it's like you go to a bar beforehand. There wasn't like the SEC tailgates and everybody with tents. There are a couple of people here and there, but for the most part, the dome is surrounded by Archibald Gymnasium, 2 academic buildings, street, and 2 dormitories.
Is that as crappy as a dome as it looks on TV?
Inside or out?
Inside.
Yeah.
Were you going to give a different answer for outside?
They've done a lot to it on the outside. It looks a lot better. They've got colors. They put a different support on because they've had to lower the Teflon dome a couple of times.
I think you really age yourself when one of the attractions is they added color.
Sam's dry.
So dry.
One-liners are great.
Great meat. Friendly people.
Thank you, Stan. Where's that at?
I can't wait. Carry it on.
And now we've got splotchy yellow balls.
You just hit me square in the gonads.
It's not supposed to look good. I just had it done about an hour ago.
You just hit iPhone with a squirt of pus out of that thing.
iPhone would be so lucky. He'd be so lucky to get some of Tim Grunhard, Hall of Fame center's pus on his leg.
iPhone's an intern, by the way.
Take a break on that. No, come back. There's no coming back from that.
It's bad enough when I thought it was an actual iPhone.
Yes, no, iPhone's an intern.
It's a person.
Chiefs Hall of Fame pus on you. iPhone would be so lucky to get some pus on you.
He didn't rub me. He didn't rub me wrong.
All right. That'll do it for the week. A lot of work for me with these two shows.
Wasn't much.
Whew.
The guy's on more than you.
Had to really put in work.
A sterling week.
Yeah. It was a sterling week.
They got to beat him off with a stick.
Yeah. Which is quite difficult.
Did they do that in Indiana?
Tried? Not sure. I'm going to, you know what? I'm not going to settle out of court. I'm going to take that one to court. Make sure that doesn't happen. Thank you, Mick.
Thank you, Jason.
Program next.